Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ETN, the most European podcast in the world. Today is Thursday, it's the 29th of January, and it is 11 a.m. We're on time again. This seems to be
We're getting better. We're getting better.
We're getting a lot better. I'm not sure what it is. Do you know why that is? What's happening?
Our producers are working hard. This is great.
Shout out to the producers.
Shout out to producers.
Always got our backs. Always getting us here on time. Always letting us know when we should go for a quick bathroom break before we jump on. So shout out to you guys. Today's show, I don't know about you, Luke, but I struggled to get to sleep last night. Not only because we were doing so much prep, but also because it's probably one of our biggest episodes we've ever had.
It's a massive episode. It's going to be good. I'm excited.
We've got 8 guests. Before I tell you about the guests, let me tell you about our friends over there at Airwallex. What I want you to do, I want you to leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex. It's the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern businesses. It's a multi-currency account, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, and it's all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com.
Go to airwallex.com
to go and get a load of all that good stuff that we like.
We have some big guests on today. Should we rack through them? Here's the order of play before we jump in.
Yes, we do. We also have some exclusive news today that we need to be careful about.
We have some exclusive news.
Not revealing.
So I'm not going to reveal one of them.
So
but anyway,
let's do it really slowly.
First on the show at 11:40 in the morning, in 40 minutes, or in 38 minutes, Nora Saxa. She is the new CEO at Slush. She's coming on to chat to us for 15 minutes, which is going to be wicked. Going to be interesting to hear what they have planned for this year's Slush.
Why the new appointment?
November.
Previously CFO and COO, I believe Nora was.
Well, she's done a bit of a trip round the C-suite.
Around the C-suite, yeah. Tour de
C-suite.
That's nice. Do we just?
I like that. Tour de C-suite.
Coin that. Tour de C-suite. I like it. It's good.
And then we have, dude, I'm so excited for this. We have Daniel Kim. He is the CFO at Synthesia. If you watched Tuesday's show or haven't had your head under a rock, Synthesia just did their $200 million Series E at a $4 billion valuation. Yeah. They participated in a secondary sale as well of some of their shares, making some of their early employees cash millionaires, which is becoming less rare, but still for a London-based company is very rare. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk to him about what's happening in the IPO market, what's going to happen with Synthesia. I've got a ton of questions.
Nearly swore.
I've got a ton of questions, which is going to be good.
A little S word.
So I have an ton of questions to ask.
I could see you about to as well.
But I stopped myself. Then we have third on the show. We have Paul Adams. He is the CPO, and his title is CPO and marketing at Intercom, and they're obviously building FinAI, customer service agent. Obviously did that very famous pivot back during the launch of ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. That was obviously a pivotal thing, and Paul was one of the front runners for that. He was famously the guy that started doing
Paul's one of the
stuff.
goats.
He's one of the goats.
He was the global head of like brand and design at Meta.
Yeah.
Prior to joining Intercom as well. So
at Facebook back then.
Yeah, wow. Just in
doing the rounds. Then we have an A16Z new media fellow, Paula Waymeyer. Paula Waymeyer. You can teach us how to say it, Paula. Yeah. But she's building general intuition, but also about 2 weeks ago she was announced as a new media fellow for A16Z,
which is huge. By the way, this
stuff.
is a really cool, new, awesome initiative that Andreessen Horowitz are rolling out of new media. And they announced their first cohort of media fellows recently. If you've not seen it, go check it out.
Indeed, it's pretty cool.
They are pioneers of new media as well. One of the pioneers of new media. So it's good to see that they're front running this. Good to see that they're getting ahead of it. And good. It's kind of like this Teal Fellowship, but it's for new media specifically. Which if you've not come across it,
everyone building in the intersection of venture, tech, media, all of that kind of stuff. She's big on Instagram, has a load of followers on LinkedIn as well.
Does some really cool, she's doing really cool stuff, informative information.
I believe she lives in New York now, but she is, I want to say German. Yeah. So it's going to be really good to talk to Paula. Then we have
slow down.
A secret guest coming in.
Secret guest,
exclusive. It's going to be good. I can't tell you who they are, but they're very secret. So make sure to tune in then. That is at 1:10 p.m. So stay tuned. Sack off your lunch and just watch ETN.
Or eat your lunch
and watch ETN.
You know, it's like that medieval need to be entertained.
It's the show that you watch at work. You can, build your models and watch ETN if you want. Do what you like.
Yeah, that was a specific message to the finance bros, it sounds like.
Yeah. All the finance bros that watch us. Anyway, then at 1:30 p.m. we have Steve Hind, co-founder of Lorikeet, another customer service agent that is more specific to kind of more complex, I guess, conversations. They're similar to FinAI, but also not that similar.
I think they operate in different, definitely different customer bases.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe a bit more niche, but more focused.
But generally, a customer service agent. So. Yes. Going to be wicked to talk to Steve. They're building some awesome stuff. And then we have Raman Holzel. He is the co-founder and CEO of Robco, a robotic automation company. Whereabouts are they based? I don't know.
I think that they're currently expanding to the US, I'm pretty sure, but I think it's Germany, maybe. We'll have to double check. But they're doing physical AI, robotics. We love it. We're going to dig into them. Everything's going on their side. It's going to be a really fun conversation. But what a lineup! It's a C-suite lineup today. I don't think we've ever had this sort of caliber.
We're doing a tour of the C-suite.
Yeah, we're doing a little tour.
This is the first time we've ever had two exclusives live on the show. First ever time we've had a secret guest on the show, so it's going to be good.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm excited. Before we jump into the news, quick word from Spectre. Be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade. Go to tryspectre.com.
You got to be it. Now, let's get into the news. What are we discussing?
What do we want to talk about? I want to talk first about the OpenAI news. So Sama is getting all closer to the $100 billion funding round that he is working on. They have, I believe, 40 billion kind of like pledged or whatever. So 40 billion between like Nvidia, Amazon, Microsoft. I did a bit of research yesterday and had a look at the kind of investor contributions and understanding who is buying and paying for what. SoftBank is doubling down. But do you want to read the first little bit of the story?
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we can go from there.
Headline: OpenAI in talks to raise 40 billion in investments from Nvidia.
Now remember,
Amazon and Microsoft.
the articles, they repeat themselves.
We learned that last time. Didn't we? Well, you learned it last time.
I did, yeah.
I
said the same thing like 4 times.
You did a little bit of a repeat, didn't you? AI startup turns to 3 of its biggest suppliers in blockbuster $100 billion funding round. Skipping the first paragraph as Luke has instructed me because it repeats itself, the article there. Nvidia could invest as much as 20 billion in the ChatGPT maker as part of its next funding round. Well, Amazon has discussed investing 10 billion or more, according to people familiar with the matter. Microsoft, which owns a 27% stake in OpenAI, could invest several $1 billion more, the people added. The commitments would form part of a new funding round in which Sam Altman's startup is trying to raise as much as 100 billion at a valuation of 750 billion to fund its expansion, for which it needs huge amounts of expensive data center capacity. Quickly, Microsoft announced their earnings yesterday. I've got a hilarious screenshot of my phone that I bought. You remember we were on the phone? And I was like, I just bought like a slither of Microsoft. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then an hour later, it fell by 6 or 7%. Yeah. So I got a really funny screenshot on my phone of like entry level here. And then like, there's like one candle and the candle's just like 7% below, probably like the worst. The worst. No, it's not. I'm not gonna like. It's fine, but I just thought it was.
Microsoft is right.
These are diamond hands, brother. I'm hodling. But I just thought that was really funny. I literally checked it when I was in bed after their earnings came out, which I thought I didn't probably look into it, but I saw LinkedIn revenue was up 11%. So
damn.
long LinkedIn.
Seems
that
they're figuring out ways to monetize that wonderful audience.
It's that sales navigator.
Maybe it's all of those. Maybe it's all of those 11 Labs jobs that they're raking in.
31,000 11 Labs applications. Sorry, but yeah, maybe it's people using Recruiter and Sales Nav to get into 11 Labs.
There are hundreds. I think they had over 100 jobs open on LinkedIn at once.
11 Labs did.
31,000 applicants.
That was in a month, wasn't it? They got 31,000 in a month.
Yeah.
Which is just insane.
So, I mean, that's probably why 11 Labs are
11 Labs
are fueling the 11% growth of
Yeah, one out for 11 Labs actually, just like boosting Microsoft's
shareholder value,
LinkedIn revenue by 11%. You love to see it. Slightly off piece there, but so the commitments would form part of a new funding round in which Sam Altman's startup is trying to raise as much as 100 billion at a valuation of 750 billion. The large investments from the same tech giants that sell OpenAI the chips and data center capacity it needs to train and run AI models will intensify concerns among some analysts about the loss-making startup's circular financial arrangements. Now, this did its rounds and keeps doing the rounds, to be fair, because it's like they're selling the chips, but they're also investing in them. So it's kind of like they're giving them the money to buy the chips.
More money.
No problems, as the famous saying goes.
Indeed. SoftBank is securing an additional $30 billion as well.
Massa's back for more. Massa's back.
They love it. They love it.
Love to see it. I was watching the We Crash documentary, like dramatized, like drama series with Jared Leto and Anne Hathaway. It's really, really good. And Massa is portrayed brilliantly in it, like really, really, really well. They really kind of capture how his legacy of being like incredibly crazy and making these like outlandish bets. Essentially one of the pioneers for like growth investing. Just thought like it was. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out.
I haven't seen it.
It's a very like good watch. Like they both do like a really good job, both like Anne Hathaway and Jared Leto. But yeah, Masso's back. He's chucking more money in.
Indeed. So this would value OpenAI at between 730 billion and 830 billion.
Yeah, I was seeing 800 on X quite a lot.
Which is wild. Yeah, absolutely nuts. Like,
part of me does feel that I saw a funny tweet the other day from that guy, JT, I forget his and it went nuts. It was like 10,000 likes, like a few million impressions. And it was a picture of just like a graph that was drawn. It looks like it was drawn by like a child with no y-axis labeled or x-axis. There was nothing on it. It was literally like line, y-axis, x-axis, and then a line,
but
like
no
going
metrics
like,
or anything.
No metrics, no numbers, no anything. It's 3 lines.
Yeah.
One like y-axis, x-axis, and then like a line like going up.
Yeah.
And the caption was like, "This chart is insane. Like no one is ready. Like this chart," and it reminds me of a little bit when I'm reading this article. It does kind of feel like now we are it's kind of discussing the same. Like what's that other one? It was like number gets bigger.
Wow.
Amazing. Like breaking number that was previously announced is now bigger than before.
Number that was previously massive.
Yeah,
has announced
a little
the
bigger.
Fact that it's got a little bit bigger, which means it's even more massive.
Yeah, and everyone's like retweeting like people aren't ready for this, which is super funny. But I don't know. Part of me. There's been a lot of, as we've covered on the show before, there's been a lot of speculation around sort of what's going on with OpenAI. I think a lot of it has been fear mongering. To be fair, it just seemed like they're in a pretty healthy place. They're still attracting like a lot of money. Like there's no concerns about them actually raising the cash, I don't think now.
So on that point, there was an interesting Polymarket tweet actually. Shout out to Polymarket. They estimated the estimated revenues of OpenAI and Anthropic. Estimated 2026 revenue from OpenAI is 30 billion and 800 billion, give or take, valuation. Anthropic, $18 billion at a $350 billion valuation. Then again, give or take, depending on whether they valued at 350. I think they were in talks of raising 25 billion at 350. So they're not there yet, but they probably will. Which company would you rather own? Talks basically saying you'd probably rather own Anthropic, probably because one, the multiple is just far better. You're getting more for your money. But then again, comments were basically saying that it's Anthropic is the revenue quality is higher. OpenAI are obviously going after the same carrot that Gemini are going after. The Anthropic are kind of more B2B, I guess, and OpenAI are kind of more B2C. They're challenging the likes of Google, which is obviously like a far not fun task to be doing.
That.
Obviously, Google, the ads giant, they have that kind of shield, I guess. So
all that ads money.
So yeah, it was an interesting take. And then obviously like everything about kind of the circular deal, OpenAI is currently in negotiations to raise close to 40 billion from 3 of its largest like infrastructure providers, which are Nvidia, Amazon, Microsoft. Again, who's kind of like, where is that money actually real? People are saying some of these infrastructure players are pledging compute, they're pledging chips, and all of that kind of stuff. The value of those things might be worth X billion.
Yeah, it's dodgy.
But is there actually money on the table? Who knows? It's all kind of floating around the same same circle. They're effectively raising billions for like from the same tech giants.
Yeah.
It also pays for the chips and the compute and data center capacity.
And they talk about more here,
right? So
like OpenAI also has a 38 billion 7-year deal with Amazon to use its AWS cloud infrastructure. The new investment could form part of a wider deal with Amazon for access to OpenAI's technology.
Exactly.
I mean, Microsoft was one of OpenAI's early backers, its largest shareholder in the AI group's for-profit business after they restructured their relationship last year. And I do feel weirdly that like not weirdly, it makes a lot of sense, but like the Microsoft stock was mooning a few months back, 6 months back, something had like an absolutely insane run, kind of what Google's on now, not as crazy. And a lot of that growth was tied to the hype around OpenAI and the deals that they were signing.
Yeah.
It was funny, OpenAI would sign a big deal and it's kind of like Microsoft was acting as their like public means of like value to like to the public market. So if you wanted exposure in OpenAI, you could just buy some Microsoft stock basically for the average consumer, because it was in a way so sensitive to price fluctuations with OpenAI that you were kind of owning a slice of OpenAI, and you are literally, I guess, in a sense, if you own a bit of Microsoft, they own a bit of OpenAI. So, it doesn't exactly like cut off, but it's interesting. We're seeing the numbers go up. It's going to be chaos when these all IPO. It's going to be like one of the most unprecedented things in financial markets I think we'll ever see.
Yeah, yeah. And there was talk about the fact that obviously they are private and normal investors can't necessarily get any shares, right? So it's kind of almost like an unfair thing. I can't remember what article I was reading, but they're basically saying it's unfair that and these things need to IPO because only a select, like the concentration of power and money being flooded into people and companies is getting so high. These guys are making so much money and there's only a select few of these people on the planet. The kind of redistribution of like all of that wealth being created is only going to happen once they IPO. That's kind of it. But retail investors can't take a slice of any of those gains at the moment. Even when they do IPO, So
well, if they IPO, they can.
Yeah.
But I don't think
once
they need.
Yeah.
I don't think there's like a fiduciary right to like let people in. I mean, you can get in if you want to do one of those.
But people are
40-layer SPVs.
Well, yeah. But whether that's actually owning shares or not, or pledging into shares, or who knows what that is.
Yeah, it sounds like one big
the Wild West of tech.
Yeah, crazy mess that you just don't want to get involved in.
Yeah, indeed.
But we can move on to Mr. Musk.
We can move on to Mr. Musk
and his birthday party.
His $1 trillion birthday party.
Let me pull this one up. So I love this headline so much. It's just absolutely insane. SpaceX. It's weighing up a June IPO, timed to planetary alignment and Elon Musk's birthday.
Nice.
Celestial calendar
Good on
meets
him.
high finance, says FT, as billionaires' personal impulses shape plans to raise 50 billion in a record listing. Elon Musk has proposed timing SpaceX's initial public offering to coincide with a rare planetary alignment and his birthday, as the world's richest man seeks an auspicious date for what would be the largest listing in history. The rocket maker is targeting mid-June for its IPO, when Jupiter and Venus will appear very close together, known as a conjunction for the first time in more than 3 years, said 5 people familiar with the matter. 5 familiar with
5
that.
people is a lot, right?
Yeah, I guess.
They've kind of done the rounds. They've really, usually it's 1 or 2.
And that's just like...
says 2 people familiar with the matter.
Yeah,
It says
true.
says 1 person
Says a
familiar with the
singular
matter.
individual.
But 5 people is
Everyone's talking about it. They're probably
Everyone's
all
like,
in-
yo, have you heard that we're going to IPO in June because, planets are aligning?
They're just going to go and chat to all the people stuck in these like 50-layer SPVs. They'll say anything.
Yeah.
They'll say anything for a bit of liquidity.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Anyway, they would IPO to raise about 50 billion at an approximate valuation of 1.5 trillion, which, by the way, absolutely like shatters the record from Saudi Aramco's $29 billion.
Yeah.
That was in 2019. So this would by far be the biggest IPO
which is very Musk
in market history.
His famous line of like the most entertaining outcome is always the one that will happen.
Yeah.
He loves.
Well, when
a bit of
Tesla
theatre.
IPO'd, they did it at $420 per share.
Yeah.
He's always kind of playing that culture game.
He has a
I
bit
like
of fun with
It's
it.
funny.
I think it's funny. I think he has a bit of fun with it. He is. He's looking for 50 billion at 1.5.
Well, bankers
on
are
his
saying it's
birthday.
too early. June is too early. They haven't even filed the necessary documents to IPO. They haven't filed them to the SEC to IPO in June. I don't know how long those kind of processes take, but I imagine at least 4 to 5, 6 months, whatever.
Yeah. Well, as we know, Musk doesn't do too early. He makes up his own rules.
Indeed.
He very famous for setting these like absolutely outrageous deadlines and usually meeting them, to be fair.
But then again, if he's 54, he kind of needs to get moving, right? If he wants to go and colonize Mars, if he wants to make
He wants to get onto Mars.
humans a multi-planetary species, he has to go and do it.
He's going to do
ASAP.
that. So what he's doing is he goes on June. Sorry, the FT reads on June 8th and 9th. Jupiter and Venus will be within little more than 1 degree of each other in the sky, which is about the width of a thumb held at arm's length. So what's
Nice.
pretty close. That's not that great a distance, to be honest with you. According to the non-profit organization, the Planetary Society, a few days later, Mercury will also align diagonally with the 2 planets. Another reason to target.
Why is he not doing that then?
What?
Why is he not doing
For the
it a few
it's
days
a few
later?
days. Maybe there's a bit of spillover. Maybe he does it when Mercury gets stuck in as well with it. But another reason to target that.
We're talking
one is
about
Musk's
days here. Days
birthday.
are not a long time. When a company IPOs, things can happen super quick. They can get delayed. Days aren't a long time period. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's why it can spill in over to this.
It's been moved by a week, and Musk's like, oh well, whole plan's game over.
True. But I think he'd just, he'd pull some strings or something and make it happen, wouldn't he? He'd probably just.
What, the
make a
largest
few-
IPO ever?
I think
in
he'd
history.
I think he'd make a few calls. There's probably a couple insiders
By
there.
over $500 billion.
You're like, hey, look, I'll give you 0.1% if you just make sure it happens.
I don't know how
on
that
the day.
works. It's probably illegal, but yeah, it's definitely illegal.
1,000,000% illegal, yeah. And he's aiming to do it on his birthday, which is on June 28th.
Again, one day, the timelines.
I was thinking about that. Imagine getting $1.5 trillion for your birthday.
It's pretty nice.
I've seen loads of tweets about his net worth. I can't remember what the exact figure is. It's like multi-billion, like high billions. Sorry, like 3-figure billions, sorry. And there's like a 0.2 at the end of that. And I saw someone tweet him like yo, please man, just all I need is that 0.2 and I'm good for the rest of my life. Just give me the 0.2. I'll just take the 0.2 and I'm good. I'll never speak to you again. Which is pretty funny. He normally replies to those type of things, but
And that 0.2 is what, that 200 million?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be 200 million.
So, generational wealth
More
for the
than
rest of
way more than you would ever need unless you're building.
Kids would probably be sorted.
If you're going to go live a semi-normal life, not
you could live a
tech
mad
guru
life, really.
Oh my god, yeah.
As
oh
in,
my
like, your
God.
kids could. I mean, your kids could live a mad. I mean, 200 million would just it would sort your bloodline out. That's like, yeah, that would be.
It would.
That would be insane. And they go on further to say that the unusual demand highlights Musk's personal imprint on SpaceX, where major corporate decisions have often reflected the billionaire's beliefs and priorities, from ambitious production targets to unconventional management practices. Musk has a history of cracking jokes about business decisions. In 2018, he tweeted about taking Tesla private at $4.20 a share.
Yeah.
Many interpreted the price as a reference to 4/20 or April 20, a day celebrated by marijuana smokers. He's also recently been going head to head, as we've covered previously on the show, after a spat on social media with Ryanair, buying Starlink internet for its planes. Musk also threatened Michael O'Leary, threatened to buy the airline and replace him. For those who saw, with someone whose real name is Ryan.
I mean, with the fact that if people are saying June is too early, but he's like, oh no, I want it to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he's got all of these incentives to make it happen, was it June 28th?
Yeah, that's
on the 28th of June. Regardless of whether that's quick or not, that's it incentivizes him to make sure it happens.
Well, that's his thing. He sets
right?
these artificial deadlines. He calls them.
So it's right, I have to do it, and it's good, right? It speeds up the fact that, if he wants to build a city on Mars, speeds that up.
Hell yeah.
$50 billion into the pocket.
Hell yeah.
Let's go do it. Let's go make
Bs.
human the multiplanetary.
Yeah. I also saw today there was news that Tesla had invested in XAI, $2 billion. In XAI, which again comes as that takes us back to a more on the circular investment debate we were having earlier with OpenAI. That's a bit more nuts, because they're literally all owned by Elon, right? So that's just money moving, which is
that's
I don't know how that works. It definitely is fair to maybe spark a few debates about is that cool or not. I don't really. I'm sure it's fine. I guess
I think that's fine. I think that's fine.
Money around.
I mean, he wouldn't be able to do it unless it was fine.
Yeah, true. I guess. And then yes, on your artificial deadline point, right? If I think he mentioned the other day, if you tell yourself you have 30 days to clean your house, it'll take you 30 days. If you say that you've got 1 day to do it, it'll take you a day.
You can do it in a day.
So
maybe you can build Rome in a day.
But they even go. There's more. There is more. Brett Johnson, Chief Financial Officer, has been holding talks and Zoom calls with existing private investors since mid-December, to explore a mid-2026 IPO. The people said the offering is expected to see massive demand from institutional and retail investors who have been unable to obtain shares at the company had opted to remain private. I think this would just be one of the most nuts opening days I think everyone that we speak to / know
would be getting in.
Want to have. I mean, even setting you don't want to set an open order up when the market opens, because you'll end up. I mean, maybe you do though, because it'll just run all day. I do think this will just run all day.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. It's just going to be such a nuts day. I don't know how that's going to work.
A lot of people are...
all of them. SpaceX,
OpenAI,
Anthropic. Every single one of them.
I think OpenAI would be a little bit more tasty, but there's obviously in the tech community so many people bullish on Elon as a technologist. But despite everything that he does, kind of politically and all of that kind of stuff, as a technologist, people back him, right? And you'd let it run all day for sure.
But what I find fascinating about that is that for the first time in history, that whole debate around AGI, right? Let's see, one of these people is on track. SpaceX, no, but OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, as well. One of these companies is maybe a non-zero chance of maybe reaching AGI one day, right? These are people that people are discussing, who can hit it, who can get AGI, and then we know the goalposts change all the time. We know the definition changes all the time. But people maybe suggest that that is a world of abundance where if we were to hit that point, money wouldn't matter. Like we've unlocked like the keys to like artificial general intelligence. Money would be worth nothing. Like you could just create whatever you wanted all the time.
Yeah.
So how then? I remember seeing the debates on X when people were specifically Zuck when he was spending these insane sums of like $1 billion offers to bring researchers in house at Meta. Debates around people like why is he paying so much? Why is he like happily just chucking around $1 billion? That's insane. Like, and the question posed to them was like, how much money would you pay today for infinite money in the future?
Yeah.
And then mathematically there is no number high enough to like make that a fair sort of balanced equation, right? Either side. So what I do find interesting,
but the ROI is there.
The ROI is 1,000,000% there, and how well not 1,000,000%, but like the ROI, the possibility,
the cost of the opportunity cost of missing out.
Is insane.
Far higher.
Well, it's like infinite.
If
If one's theory of AGI would mean that money is no longer important or needed.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what's again the most interesting part about it is like, how do you even price that stock?
I don't know.
So we're going to see that happen in the public markets, and I know that maybe like
they've appointed literally every big investment bank. I think it lists in the article, and it just literally just lists. I believe it's the top. It lists all of them.
It's like Jeffries.
Yeah, lining up Bank of America, Goldman, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley for lead roles in the blockbuster deal. Like they're all.
Was Jeffries in there?
No, they're all the biggest.
Who's this Jeffries? Maybe is this for SpaceX or OpenAI?
Yeah, SpaceX.
SpaceX. Maybe Jeffries was Anthropic. They were involved in
it. Okay. Yeah.
And countering the argument, to be fair, maybe like Google is also one of those players, which is a public stock, which to be fair is probably I think one of the top performing technology stocks this year. It's up like nearly 100% in the past like 8 months, 9 months. So which is interesting, which like feeds the argument slightly, but again, it's not moving. I mean, it is moving parabolic to be honest for like a large like mega. Like one of the most valuable companies in the world to double its valuation almost in like a year is mental when I think about it. But yeah, no, just some, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be
a good old year. Quick word from our sponsor, Airwallex. Leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one place. Go to airwallex.com. They gave us a McLaren car. We like them. They are cool. Should we speak about Zuck? Mr. Zuck doubling down on his CAPEX spend. So Zuck last year, the CAPEX spend of Meta was, I believe, 72 billion. They are, I don't know what the word is, I guess, announcing or pledging to spend double that, $135 billion in AI spend. And the FT has written an article about it. Revenues are soaring. Meta is up 10%, which is great.
And I didn't look at
but they're burning
the revenue
equally
figures.
as much amount of money.
To be fair, I didn't look at the revenue figures, but I think like a large majority of this of the stock running, I think it closed 7% up on the day post earnings call.
Revenues rose 24% on year in the fourth quarter to a record $59 billion.
Oh,
it's about 200-ish.
Yeah. Amazing news. And then like they're combining that with the fact that Meta, like the capital expenditures are going to nearly double to 135 billion this year. But that is part of, as the FT reads here, it's increasingly radical AI spending plans. Which record revenue boosted its share price as much as 10% in after hours trading, 10% after hours closed at 7. And it just seems like any stock you own that this sounds like ridiculous, right? And I'm kind of outing myself as an idiot right now. But I'm just gonna say, like when I was like choosing, like for my ISA, right? I have an ISA. And like, this is not financial advice, by the way. I probably legally have to say that. I am not an investor. And I remember when we spoke about this ages ago.
Yeah.
To mention the portfolio, right? And all I did was just buy AI stocks that would consistently announce news.
Yeah.
Because every time they announced news, it was just be like every stock would just like move, But the fact that I was beating the market by just owning like Tesla, Google, ASML, and Apple, Apple, like, not so much exposure to AI, but that scared me about bubble territory because I am not a good investor. I suck at investing. I'm really not good at it. But I was beating the market by, like it was 80% in like 7 months or something, with a traditional like maybe an 8% in a year. Like that made me fear that it may be bubble territory, maybe. Yeah. Like because
not a good investor.
I'm not a good investor.
Making loads of money.
That scares me. That takes me back to the previous bull runs.
Can I just jump in and say exclusive breaking? David Eckstein.
Oh, we've got some breaking news.
Breaking news. David Eckstein has left
now.
his CFO position of 3 years at Vanta to go and join the Swedish startup Legora. He is now the new CFO of Legora, the AI law startup. He's going to be joining us in an hour to kind of break down the news. He was the secret guest that we had on. He's
just
coming on
breaking the news
at 1:10 p.m. So make sure that you tune in to hear from the new CFO of Legora. He had Legora released an official announcement or statement that we said that we would read out. Legora says Eckstein brings extensive experience partnering with leadership teams to help high growth technology companies navigate rapid expansion and increasing complexity. Max Junstrand, who is the CEO and co-founder, obviously friend of the show, he said he's seen firsthand what it takes to support ambitious growth while keeping teams focused on what matters most. New CFO of Legora, David Eckstein, says, I'm excited to join Legora at a time when the company is defying gravity.
You love to see it.
Those guys are moving at a blistering pace. They're growing so quickly. It's wild, and I'm excited. It's going to be good. Talking to Mr. David on the show at 1:10 p.m. So stay tuned.
We're going to have him on. It's going to be a lot of fun. What an honor as well to sit down with David. He's been an amazing CFO at Vanta for the past 3 years. He's done some phenomenal stuff. He's been with them. Crossing like 100 million ARR. He was integral to their Series C funding round that they raised. I
imagine what the difference is between working at Vanta and Legora is, because obviously Legora is a lot younger. I assume faster moving.
I mean, well, David was there for, Legora, what was it, when they came on to announce, there was a Series C, right? So, I mean, Vanta, David was there when, he was there for Vanta raising their Series C.
Yeah.
So David is a pro at taking companies from that Series C level beyond. He also spent time at Menlo Security Box. He was at OpenDNS, which was acquired by Menlo Security, and spent some time at Box as well. Shout out to Box, new friends of the stream, which is very fun. But yeah, we are lucky enough to sit down with David for this exclusive today. You can go and see the news on our X profile if you haven't seen it already. It's also on LinkedIn.
There'll be FT articles.
David Eckstein. Sure. Maybe hit the trumpets for that.
David
Eckstein, new CFO of Legora.
Here we go.
Let's go.
It's going to be cool. Anyway, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. Before we jump in with Nora, she is the new CEO at Slush. Let's keep talking about this Zuck story. So I wanted to mention their move away from the metaverse. They reportedly have or Zuck has reportedly kind of like scaled back the metaverse division. They've cut about 1,500 jobs.
Oh, the metaverse division. I'm sorry, can we just stop for a second and please let's just talk about the metaverse division for a little bit.
Why? What's wrong with the metaverse division?
The metaverse division. Do you not remember? Do you remember? Maybe this was like 2022 or something, when they did the rebrand, like metaverses, headlines, metaverse is the big new thing, right? People were talking about the metaverse.
So the metaverse, everyone's going to live in the metaverse. The metaverse is going to be the thing that we all, everyone's going to be like strapped to a chair looking at their like screens.
It was during
living in the metaverse.
Connected to the NFT run.
Do you remember when people were buying?
I'm just about to say.
Buying stuff in the metaverse?
Yeah. Nuts. I forget, Sandbox, the platform was called. You could buy land in the metaverse, and Snoop Dogg bought a couple
NFT,
squares. Right? Yeah, it's essentially just like an NFT. Yeah. Snoop Dogg bought a couple squares on, you had this grid, like this, X amount by X amount grid. very similar actually to that like $1
It was
million
like,
homepage.
I was going to
in a
say,
weird way,
it's
right?
like the VC version of the $1 million homepage.
Yeah. It's quite connected to that in a weird way. But Snoop Dogg bought a quotation marks plot of land in this sandbox environment.
He's now a
metaverse.
farmer.
And boxes like everyone wants to be Snoop Dogg's neighbor in the metaverse.
Yeah.
People were tweeting out like, I'm literally Snoop Dogg's neighbor in the metaverse. And then they could sell, then their land was super valuable, which is just absolutely nuts. And then, obviously they go through like the rebrand, like they literally changed the name of the company to Meta. They were that bullish on it. Obviously the Oculus as well was a huge part of what they were doing at the time, like Palmer Luckey's previous company that they acquired.
I think Meta was a good rebrand, FYI.
Really? Facebook? Just such a classic,
I know
I
that
just
that's the
love
point.
Facebook.
They were rebranding
Meta's
to
more,
be...
they have like multi-lines of revenue. I guess it's a little bit more like AI-ish.
it's not just Facebook. It's...
But their stock plummeted it wasn't just on the rebrand. They did the rebrand. It was shaky. Stock price didn't like it. The public didn't like it. And then he did the announcement where it's like they've been spending like crazy amounts of money on this internal metaverse team. They've spent crazy amounts of money on this rebrand. They've literally changed the name of the company from to Meta.
Yeah.
And then he announces like what we've been working on, and it's a screenshot. If you've seen that, the famous screenshot, it's like the Eiffel Tower in the background on grass, and then it's like Zuck as a metaverse character.
Yeah.
It looks like
a little...
it looks like a worse version of like Wii Bowling.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. And that was what the multi-billion-dollar company had been working on. Now,
Nowadays, it would just be...
It was insane that it was laughable, and the stock price like plummeted to, it was something like $87 a share. Last time I looked at it, it was like 400. I can't remember what it is now. Another missed opportunity at generational wealth, just like that on a plate for you. But yeah, I couldn't believe that was just a nuts time. That was just a crazy time. And the metaverse, I don't know about. I was a little bit bullish on NFTs, to be fair. Was there super early, made like absolutely no money, like such a bag fumble. But the metaverse, I just couldn't get my head around, because in a weird way, I felt like people kind of already lived in it.
It was like you're playing Wii Sports, but like in real life.
I just couldn't get on board
People were
with
buying outfits and stuff to wear in the metaverse and all of this kind of stuff.
And
I was
Ferraris.
and it just felt way too ahead of its time, basically.
I didn't understand.
It was such massive news. It was cool. But anyway, they're kind of they're moving away from the metaverse. They've closed down a bunch of their like VR studios and all that kind of stuff.
They are still working.
Which, by the way, isn't like a negative thing.
No,
it's not like Meta's dead or whatever, they're not growing, so they're killing all of their stuff. They're just strategically moving away and putting more more money and more investment and more time into their personal super intelligence kind of like play. So obviously they had the Meta Ray-Bans came out. They I believe, let me just have a look.
Seeing those
sales of Meta Ray-Ban
more.
smart glasses more than tripled in 2025, signaling a shift towards AI-powered wearables. So basically, TLDR, I see Meta as being the winner in wearables at the moment. Obviously, OpenAI acquired Johnny Ives' company and brought him in-house. They've obviously been very quiet about that since
been
that
awfully
happened.
quiet. There was an announcement,
Which was super interesting because it went so viral. And ever since then, it's just kind of just been pushed under the rug. So it's either they're going to come out with something really, really big and it's going to kind of break the world and just, leapfrog over Meta, or it will be, I don't know, Meta's just killing it at the moment. Their Meta Ray-Ban glasses are kind of like the top of the top, which is interesting. So yeah, it's a cool move, I think.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they're still. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of ads for it.
Oh, we need to put video links into the thing.
Yes, we do need to do that. That is.
Can you send us video links? We don't have any. Do you want to send email the video link?
Yeah. Just gonna.
That's hilarious.
To join.
We're just waiting for our producer to send us some links to send to all of our guests. Otherwise, we're going to have no guests on today, which is hilarious. So I apologize, viewers. We're going to have to lock in for a sec.
We are just sending one link. I can send
I can't believe
to Nelly.
I'll send it to everyone else other than the first guest,
which is absolutely fine. There we go. Oh yeah, Nelly's just messaged me. Okay, coming on. I just replied. Cool. Okay. Well, our next guest is the new CEO of Slush, as we mentioned earlier. Her name is Nora. She's just stepped in from a CFO position and COO position of the Helsinki-based technology festival known as Slush, known for its crazy side events. Luke and I were lucky enough to be a live streaming partner. When was that? November?
Are we going to pitch Nora?
What, to go again?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. That was in, I think it was September. No, it was later than that. November.
It was November, yeah. November the 11th.
And what a blast it was. We had an amazing time. They've got like public saunas, public ice bath type things. It's very Finnish. And it's basically a kind of a mixture of, how would you phrase it? It's kind of a mixture of nightlife meets,
well, the
like
beauty of
tech
Slush is that
events
they have all of the other side events and stuff hosted by major European funds, et cetera.
Yeah.
So it just makes the whole event really cool. I mean, I met a ton of people who didn't actually buy tickets, FYI.
Yeah.
And they were saying, this is happening.
Most people.
I'm just coming for the side events, which is jokes.
Well, there was something like, it's 3 days, and I think there was something like 145 side events over, maybe more, I don't know. But basically, like, everyone just rents out the local clubs and bars. So we went to, whose was that? Was that the Visionaries one?
Yeah, we went to Visionaries, we went to Backed, we went to...
And the Backed one was quite fun.
Backed one was cool.
But the Visionaries one was cool. It was like this underground kind of clubby thing full of
here we
smoke.
go.
Nora.
So I'm just finishing off.
Yeah, you crack on.
Okay, I apologise.
We're just waiting for our producer to give us a thumbs up so our viewers and listeners at home can hear you. A huge apology. We realised that we'd send you the wrong link.
Really? Nora's live.
Our problem. Welcome to the show. You are live in front of our viewers. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, and congratulations on the new CEO position.
Yes, so much.
It's amazing news. We've been talking about it a fair amount already this morning, but like maybe for our viewers and our listeners, would you like to just, who are you? What is the new role? And what is Slush? Because I've just spoke about it a little bit, but I'm not sure everyone else knows.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for inviting me. Super excited to have a chat with you. Well, I'm Nora, so the new CEO of Slush. And Slush, actually, what it is a most founder-focused event on the face of the planet. We've been around for around 17 years, and we do this crazy event for 12,000 people in November this year. And that's what we do. We are also the largest gathering of VC on the face of the planet. So that's also quite some interesting record to try to break this year.
That's so cool. Yeah, I saw a stat the other day. I think it was something like, if you were to add up the AUM, like the assets under management of all investors that attend Slush, it's something like 4 and a bit trillion.
Yeah,
so
it's 4 trillion.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
And actually, I have one up for that metric. The total value of the European startup ecosystem is 4 trillion euros. So it's absolutely crazy that amount of money comes to Slush with investor AUM. So yeah, but there's many generation of Slushers who've been working on this. So it's not only thanks to the current team, but like just insanely hard work over the last decade and longer.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
That's so awesome. You were previously COO and CFO, and you've now stepped into this CEO position. Could you maybe give us a flavor of like why the transition, why now, and what are you guys? What's the focus for Slush right now?
Yeah, the focus can be simply put into more signal, less noise. Why I wanted to do it, my dad was an entrepreneur. I always looked up to him for never settling, doing the hard things he cared about. And then in uni, I just found Slush, this community of crazy, ambitious young people who believe that they can change things. And that's sort of the path where I've been on. The reason I wanted to take on the CEO role is specifically dial down onto Europe, because I feel like this is such a special year and pivotal year for Europe, for European tech. There's so much potential. And I see that we are at this kind of golden age of startups right now. If you think about all the data and all the kind of inflection points in the ecosystem, I believe we are at the kind of starting point of exponential growth for European startups. So that's why I wanted to do this.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can. There is definitely a. I mean, it's part of the reason Luke and I started the show. There was definitely a shift in both narrative, feeling as well, and I guess like the bullishness that people have on the future of Europe. Right, we're seeing, as we've discussed on the show many times, companies like Lovable, companies like 11 Labs, companies like Attio, Granola.
But then it's also the grassroots as well. I mean, you probably feel it most times you go to Slush, but especially last year did you feel that kind of, there's so many people building in Europe, and I don't know if there's definitely never been this amount of people building from grassroots up to the kind of big winners at the moment, Lovable and 11 Labs, etc. Did you feel that the last event, and had there been a shift from the previous events?
Well, I think something we Europeans are very good at is kind of not realizing how good we are already at many things, because there's an interesting metric. Already in 2024, there were more companies founded in Europe than in the United States, and that's 2024. And I wouldn't say anybody was particularly bullish about European startups back in the day or back then. But yes, definitely we can see the shift in the European startups, and that's why exactly this year we're focusing on accelerating the earliest stages of company building and make it faster than ever before, because we feel like the sense of urgency, the sense of speed is exactly what the ecosystem needs right now, and not only from the builder side, but also the wider society.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like Slush's business model, we were at Slush for the first time. The event just gone. We were live streaming there. It was amazing. We did 21 interviews over 6 hours, spoke to some incredible people, and it was awesome. But we sat down with Vil as well, one of the co-founders of Slush, and had a great interview with him. And it was interesting to learn about the model in terms. It's kind of fully ran almost by students, not completely, but almost. I think it's like mainly volunteers. There's a lot of student-led initiatives going around it. Can you maybe talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think that's actually the most impressive part about Slush. Like, it's always been run and scaled by students. The first Slush was in 2008. It was then founded by these 5 serial entrepreneurs, but very quickly this students group took over, led by Miki Kuusi, the co-founder of Wolt, already acquired by DoorDash 2-3 years ago at 8 billion euros. So crazy success stories were also there. But how it runs nowadays, we have actually already a full-time team of 20 building Slush right now. We are going to double the full-time team in the next 3 months. And then we have 1,800 volunteers who help us. The team is mostly either university students or recent graduates. I fall into the trying to graduate my master's category, but everybody's young. And I think that's the whole reason why Slush has become such a big thing, because we have this group of young people who are hungry. Everybody knows that this is not their destination. It's a launchpad for the ecosystem. So you really want to push yourself so hard while you are at Slush. And you also have this crazy trust by the team that we trust you are the best person to do this. And in this environment, young, ambitious people really shine. And that's why Slush keeps getting better each year. We never stagnate because we are run by students. But the other thing about Slush that is special from other events is that we also are not for profit. So actually we can make choices based on how do we create the most value. I mean, I was the COO, CFO for 2 years. Most people think about the revenue when they hear that and money. But how we do decisions is how can we make sure we spend the money where we create the most impact. And actually rarely the right choice is to invest more and try to solve the problem with money. But actually we sell it with curation, we sell it with thinking and care, and thinking about the craziest amount of detail with the team.
Yeah, that's really cool. You can definitely notice it on the ground as well.
No,
it feels like a festival. It doesn't feel like a work thing. It feels like
a tech networking event.
Yeah, it feels like, I don't know, it's fun. People have fun there.
Yeah, I'm happy you feel that way. That's definitely the vibe that we want to get people like, even though we're doing important things and we really have to build hard stuff, it can still be kind of a beacon of joy while we're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we were talking about like the side events. Like we were in, these sort of smoky club, dungeony styled things afterwards and it's funny because we look around and like then we bump into like Lars Rasmussen, like the co-founder of Google Maps, like, in this club. It's just like, oh hey Lars, like this is kind of funny. Like I'm with the co-founder of Google Maps in a club, and then like even like the backed VC party as well was like another funny one. So I'd love to understand a bit more about like. This is an incredible. There are a lot of moving parts with Slush. I can't even imagine how stressful it must be.
I didn't realize there were 1,800 volunteers and doubling the team as well is wild.
Yeah, so nuts. And I remember chatting to a couple of the volunteers last year, and they were kind of saying that, like, yeah, the team's kind of working 364 days of the year for one day. Like, it's 364 days for one day. Like 364 days of prep for one day. Can you just tell us like a bit the CEO position? Like, how do you run the largest tech festival in Europe?
Yeah, I mean, crazy metric is that half of the full-time team is completely new every single year. So the rotation is 50%. Even the ones who continue are usually doing their role for the first time ever in their life. And that kind of adds another level of complexity, like how do we even do this? But I think the answer has always been just trust in the team. And we have a very, very, very clear mission. Like we know which direction we are running towards. It's to help and create founders to change the world and just make sure that we do whatever it takes to get there. Like Slush was founded for Finland to kind of become this source of radical optimism towards entrepreneurship. Now we want to do it on a European level. Like just kind of numbers like, okay, we had fewer than 20 unicorns at the beginning of the 2000s. Now there's more than 400 in Europe. Or let's say looking at the fact that the European tech companies have raised 10x more funding in the past decade. Now we are over 400 billion euros in total VC funding raised. Like, of course, we still have places to grow, but just kind of like keeping in mind that kind of excitement and belief that we can do things differently. And then just like having a team that is geared towards running the same goal. Like that's just what it is. We are even not like particularly good at documentation, but we just have this like young team who just always thinks about concepts, thinks about our value from the first principle thinking. We never take anything for granted. Like every single year is a clean slate. So that's something that really carries us through.
Yeah, I think
So awesome.
that's so important. What's the thesis behind doubling the team?
The thesis, well, actually it's a normal size. We always start with 20 at the beginning of January, and the full-time team usually like then rises to 50. But as I said, the rotation of the team is quite frequent. So if half of the
surely
team
you're just doing interviews all the time.
Then you have to kind of hire the others.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we're not actually doubling the operational team like compared to last year, but it's just like going through the normal growth spurt. And that's something I'm very excited about also, because I also hopefully am a founder in the future. So then imagine going like seeing like company from 20, then seeing it 50, then it grows to 100, 300, and lastly 1,800. So that's a crazy learning curve every single year at Slush.
Yeah, you're kind of like, it's kind of like you're going through, I guess, like a startup to IPO journey in a weird way.
In a year.
Which is
every single year. So then you kind of learn like, what breaks when you scale the company that fast, what needs to work, how important the mission actually is. Like I think this is an example that I thought like, we take the team from 20 to essentially Snapchat team size at IPO.
That's so nice. That's
wow.
So great. And you do it every year as well.
Yeah, every year. You have to rebuild it every year. How do you keep, I mean, I guess you don't really keep constants. Like the longer you're in the role, you're able to understand what's the most efficient and what's the best way to do things. Do you guys have like, I don't know, like when you're hiring these people, is it like referral based? Like the people that were in those roles are like, oh, this person would be really good. Like, is it quite streamlined, or is it like you literally have to start from day zero every time?
I would say another super valuable skill for a future founder that you learn at Slush is recruiting. Like we actually hunt down all of the people who work at Slush. Of course we get applications as well, but like actually 90% of the people in the pipeline or pool for recruitments are always outsourced candidates. Wow. So like we truly hunt for those kind of builder mindset people who are ready to think differently. We challenge them a lot during the interview processes, and then just kind of like try to like go down to atoms. Like how do they think? Are they someone who is good at asking questions? Because of course we're all quite inexperienced and young. So then you just have to be very good at asking questions and very good at understanding what is the most important answer out of the ones you get. And I think that's something we're looking out for. Now also when building the team. So it's a labor of love. It's a labor of finding those people and turning every single stone.
It must be such an amazing opportunity for those volunteers as well to get that close to the action, that close to like successful entrepreneurs, like venture partners and stuff in the space. Yeah. we're coming up near to time. Two things. The first thing is Luke and I discussed just before you came on that we were going to pitch you live to have us back next year to live stream Slush again, and we want to do 21 interviews again for 6 hours.
We want to do 22 interviews this time.
We're going to do 22 interviews for 6 hours and 30 minutes. So we'll upgrade since last year. So wanted to throw that out there, see what you think.
No, I'm super happy to have you back. Actually, I don't know if you know the backstory, but you talked to our head of media and PR last year to come to Slush all together.
Shout out to Nelly.
And she came to me. She was like, "Can we have these guys? We need a space for them. Like, we need to find a few square meters and a bit of budget." I was like, "Definitely, let's
go.
Let's go.
Let's get the trumpets
Nelly.
Trumpets going for that. That's awesome news. Okay,
we made it. Let's go.
Successful pitch. We did it. Thank you so much.
Hilarious.
But before you go, I just want to ask, like, where can we send people now? Where is Slush sort of ready to start taking applicants for 2026? Ticket sales on, like, where can we point people? Where can they go?
Unfortunately, the only thing we're looking out for now is new team members. So if you are somebody young, want to try how far you can run in this crazy journey called Slush, applications are open. You can reach out to us. Other than that, I have to leave a cliffhanger until the end of April when we have the event then going out. So that's then when the real thing starts. But you will hear from us also in the meantime. There's one thing dropping next week, specifically for Finnish founders. So you can... I'm dropping it that if there's any Finnish founders here in the audience.
Okay, we'll keep our eyes peeled.
Look,
thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations again.
Yeah, we'll see you later this year.
We'll see you at Slush.
See you at Slush.
All right, awesome. Great to meet you.
Cheers.
Awesome next on the show, we have Daniel Kim. Daniel, can you hear us? You're straight in. Awesome. Amazing stuff. How's it going?
We are absolutely pumped to have you on the show. Congratulations as well. Some amazing news the other day. I can't imagine how the whole team is feeling. We covered it on Tuesday. We were just saying how excited we were to chat to you and sit down. For maybe just an introduction to who you are and what is your role and what is Synthesia as well, just for the viewers at home.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Dan Kim. I represent Synthesia. Last time I checked, I was a CFO, but
no, okay.
4 hours ago, I was promoted to the CEO for some reason.
No, okay. So I for those, that was my bad. For those who didn't see, I put Daniel's guest announcement out on LinkedIn on Tuesday, and I very stupidly forgot to change the CFO title to, and I had it down as CEO, and then Alexandru dropped me an email and was like, "Oh, nice to see that you gave Daniel
you promoted Dan."
But people were already liking it, so it was too late to pull it down. So we had to bless you with a new CEO position. So Stefan, Victor, sorry guys, Daniel's taking the crown. But no, thank you for sitting down with us. We really appreciate it. How have the last sort of 48 hours been? I mean, you must have played a pretty crucial role to securing all this. How's it been for you?
It's been buzzing. The employees are very psyched. Our investors are really supportive, and it's given us a real boost, a morale boost for our next adventure ahead. We have really ambitious growth goals, and so this is a really great time.
That's awesome.
That's cool. You mentioned the employees are pumped. Obviously, they're going to be pumped regardless. But you guys did a secondary sale, and I wanted to jump in and talk about secondary sales in private companies. Firstly, what was the kind of core decision to kind of do that? I guess it's fairly rare for a London company, private company, to do that. It's becoming less rare. As a CFO, what's the kind of thesis that's driving that?
Yeah, first and foremost, it's about our people, right? That is our greatest asset. And so some of our employees joined back in 2020 when AI video was totally unproven. And they spent years building something that's now used by over 65,000 businesses, right? And 90% of our Fortune 100 companies. And so they deserve a chance to get some liquidity while staying part of the journey. And so we partner with NASDAQ private platform market. So everyone sold at the same price as a primary round with the Series E valuation at $4 billion. And that's relatively unheard of. Mm-hmm. So we've maintained control over who could participate and how much, but just about everyone was able to participate. It's transparent, fair, right? And I think if we can offer some liquidity, it helps with talent retention. It helps with talent acquisition, so we don't lose them to public companies. And so it's been a really, really gratifying experience for able to do that. We actually did one 12 months ago, so we're able to do two secondaries in 12 months time frame, and we're very pleased about that.
So cool. Such an awesome thing to do for the people that have been with you for so long, you know. I bet the Slack messages were a lot of rocket emojis, maybe even a few like cash emojis as well. Would have been an awesome day for all the Synthesia employees. It's kind of a segue onto something we're like luckily enough to sit down with you, who may have a really good sort of position on this, but something that Luke and I have discussed for a long time on the show. We're seeing it a lot more recently, these secondary sales. I think Clay literally announced one yesterday. Notion announced one a few days ago. 11 Labs were looking at one as well.
Some of the hyperscalers are doing, like 6 monthly. Kind of that's part of the package now. And we're talking about maybe the death of IPOs, but then also they're just kind of getting way like a lot bigger. They're kind of further down the stack. Companies are able to raise, or they would be able to raise at an IPO level in the private markets. What's like I don't know. What's your take on IPOs and where you see them in the journey of building a $1 billion company, if not a $1 trillion company?
Right. So let's just start with the fact that, the world has changed, right? Today, the median tech companies, I think, waits about 13 years before they become public. So the whole game has changed. The market has changed drastically from 2021. So I think the real change is that the private markets can support much larger rounds than they could 5-10 years ago. So companies just don't need to IPO early just to fund growth. I think the second part of that is with the availability of private capital, right? Secondaries have really matured, as you laid out some of the examples there. And so employees and some of the early seed investors from a DPI generation exercise can get partial liquidity, right, without sort of forcing the company to a listing. But I also think that as companies stay private longer, it doesn't really mean like less discipline per se, right? Because I think the really great companies use private period to like build durability, not just to avoid scrutiny. So you see the examples from like the Stripes of the world, the Databricks of the world, and they have great metrics, and they're still growing even at that scale. And so I think the world has changed. Now, in terms of IPOs, particularly for Synthesia, like we're not focused on IPO at the moment, right? Our focus right now is on just growing the business and making sure we're able to nail the second chapter of our growth phase. So I think we want to remain having the optionality to do so, but right now our immediate focus is really execution of the business.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, speaking of growth as well, like you guys are just absolutely smashing it. The Fortune 100 metric is absolutely insane. You guys crossed 100 million ARR back in April 2025, 200 million ARR target in 2026. And I guess the words that we keep seeing is this is profit and sustainable business, not hype. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that and sort of what that sort of encompasses? This isn't hype cash. This is real huge enterprise contracts.
Yeah, so I think if you think about our business a couple of years ago, I think if you look at our metrics, it was just showing high growth and everything else. But I would say our Achilles heel back then was our retention. There's a lot of, I would say, AI tourism in our AR numbers. So a lot of sort of one-off use cases. So our retention sort of suffered, but it created an awareness, and I think we shifted our go-to-market process to really qualify recurring use cases and enterprise use cases, and we went up the stack. As a result of that, I think if you look at our retention today, like we're just there under 90% from a gross retention perspective, and our net retention is over 140%. And that really speaks to the quality of revenue. We're not really driven by kind of your credit card driven growth. We really do land these large contracts in the 10,000 plus companies. And so we do see stickiness from like multiple renewal cycles. We have MSAs with a lot of these large companies. And so our next phase of growth, when we're able to like launch our video agents and our skills platform, it becomes, we have sort of a distribution channel, right? As a way for us to accelerate some of the time to value to market. And that's our focus. We want to create a really durable, category defining company. And so we really focus on the quality of revenue. And I think today, if you look at our metrics, right, I would say we could certainly increase in our average deal size, but with our next phase of growth with the conversational agents, which I think we've had a lot of press release about, right, that gives us the opportunity to do so. And so, yeah, I think if we are able to kind of nail this second act and second chapter, I think we're in a really good place.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Speaking about that, so I read in one of the actually I think it was a Sifted article that Victor said, and I quote him. He says, "We see a rare convergence of two major shifts: a technology shift with AI agents becoming more capable, and a market shift where upskilling and internal knowledge sharing has become board level priority." I want to ask about the future of Synthesia and where you guys are moving towards. What's this like big market opportunity that you guys can see? Obviously, everyone is talking about whether AI is going to take jobs, but then at a board level, it's how do we upskill our employees? Can you talk us a little bit about that? It's super interesting.
Yeah, so I think we're known for video creation, and we're used by lots of businesses around the world. But because we think the video is the best way to communicate at scale, we can do it faster, cheaper, and easier than anyone. And you have to actually change behavior and measure outcomes. But as we think about the next phase, the technology has evolved in such a way that instead of consuming video passively as a one way, you hit play and you wait till this finishes and you consume the information, now you can interact with it. So it becomes a two-way conversation. You're able to ask questions, you can practice role play, you can get tailored explanations, and then you're able to kind of maintain that context within an enterprise and custom tailor that to the company, the team, and the individual over a period of time. As you know, with AI, context is everything. So we're able to kind of own that context layer by providing the medium to have these conversational agents and track it over time becomes extremely valuable. Then you can move on to horizontal use cases and try to think about whether it's sales enablement or whether it's recruiting or whether it's helping just managers having difficult conversations. There's a plethora of use cases that kind of come into play. Right now, we're sort of focused on making sure we nail one use case at a time before we start to go think horizontally. But the universe of what we can tackle here with this technology is massive. Right? And I think that's sort of the next play where if you think about the video creation, video creation at some point, we believe that the cost to create is going to go down to nil. And so we're shifting the value to consumption, right? By doing so, you're getting closer to the business outcomes and measurable outcomes within enterprise. So example, if you're able to get a sales rep to close to create a first opportunity when they're first on board, that's a real measurable outcome that you can track. And then the closer you get to the business outcome, you can certainly charge more and the price will align to the value of the business.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And I was discussing a lot about Synthesia, but maybe you personally, your role, like how is the CFO role changing? Right, like it's a very fast scaling company. It's basically a new company every 3 months.
Yeah, and you're financing like that shift, right?
Yeah, Can you maybe just walk us through like what is the role of a CFO at a company sort of this size and that moves this quick? It must be
super long hours.
Yeah, I'll start by qualifying that there is no blueprint. We're all trying to figure this out at the same time. But I'll answer this from a principles perspective. So I see this from an input output. Okay, let's start on the input side. To me, it's really about having a curious and open mindset and high agency. Like we talk a lot about first principles thinking in our industry, and I know we really romanticize that phrase. So I really prefer calling it the beginner's mindset. Right? In the beginner's mindset, there are many, many possibilities, but in the experts, there are few. And I think AI is a totally new category, and it literally changes every week. So we can't apply the old playbooks of the past with multiple IPOs and etc. Right? Just expect them to work just because it's worked in the past. I think it's really important that we need fresh eyes on everything, and that's sort of our hiring philosophy as well. We really need to look at people who are able to kind of diagnose a problem with a first principle mindset. They really have that curiosity. And along with that, then you got to have right with a high agency. I think AI really moves violently fast. So we have to sort of enable the company to move unreasonably fast. And sometimes that means like bending the traditional norms to prioritize speed. But we've got to make sure we really prioritize speed in everything that we do. And then I would say on the output side, my job is to make sure we don't trip over our own growth. So from a capital allocation, we prioritize innovation, acquisition, both customers and talent, and retention, right? I think if you take a look at this and take a step back and say, okay, we're here to build a generational company. So when you build a generation company, you want to play the long game. And when you play a long game, you go through chapters in life. I think right now, Synthesia is sort of in the late teens phase. Like we feel invincible. We can go out, we can stay out really, really late and then feel fine the next morning. We got a lot of energy. Everything is going well. We're also ready getting for a college entrance exams, right? And trying to get to the next phase of becoming a young adult. So like we're starting to mature our processes in the meantime. We're starting to have a little more rigor and precision. So the CFO role is making sure that we support that growth, but also making sure at the same time, right, we're also ready to becoming a maturing company. The pressure is definitely on. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm not surprised.
That was an awesome answer. Sorry, I was just like kind of stuck in a trance then when you were talking. It was so good. We are 1 minute over, which is such a shame.
I did have one more question about, do you have time?
Do you have time just for
I do.
one more question?
Okay.
Amazing.
Good stuff. I wanted to ask a question about the fact that the cost of content is obviously, kind of going towards zero / going to be zero in the next however many years or months or whatever, right? I want to ask a question about where as a CFO, where the spend is going in companies, especially where, it can be kind of like a HR department where they're spending their dollars, a growth department where they're spending their dollars, when content as a thing for upskilling, but also growth of a company and all of that kind of stuff is kind of going to zero. What's your take on that, I guess? That was like kind of like the main thing I kind of wanted to ask.
So the question is, where is the spend going from a content perspective?
Yeah.
Could just give me a little bit more example. Like in what context? Could you just get just a little bit more example on that?
So there's like an economic shift, right? Where like kind of the marginal cost of like creating like very high quality content is kind of going towards zero. AI is allowing content to be that. It's allowing it to be zero, right? So in a company, you've got all these different departments that are spending money on content. A HR department is spending money on content that's upskilling, but then you've also got a growth team that's spending money on content going for growth, for like social media and all that kind of stuff. Where do you see this like shift happening now, where content is going to zero in terms of like the amount of money being spent is dwindling towards zero? What's your take on that? Is essentially the question.
Yeah. So we kind of have the same thesis as well, right? So I think the value, right, is in how you consume the content and the synthesis of it all. And within the enterprise context, it really comes down to make sure you contextualize everything that you do around that particular team, business, and company. And the closer you're able to get that context, I think, like that's the advantage, and that is the challenge for all. I think a lot of these AI companies trying to create a stickiness within the enterprise. I think there was a study out by the MIT about enterprise adoption of the AI, and basically says like 95% of enterprises are not realize the value. And then like, so the TLDR of that is that AI didn't learn and didn't evolve, right? So it's really about making sure that we apply the context of everything that you create, like content wise, but also create the scaffolding so you can enable that output into existing workflows, so that it remains sticky. Whether you output that to your HRS, your CRM, or your ERP, that creates the stickiness. But also you're able to apply the lessons learned and continue to feed the model so it evolves and adapts to your particular company. And so I think that's like the missing piece. Creation, as you said, is going to be commoditized, but the question is, what do you do with the data, and how do you make sure that you take that data and really enable the business workflows around it? Because at the end of the day, software will have some AI component in the future, and we're just going to call it modern software. And so the challenge there is kind of like what SaaS was able to do very clearly when everything moved to the cloud, is taking that knowledge and that extra technology that enables, and how do you really make business run more efficiently, faster, and provide more insight. That's always going to be the challenge, no matter what comes up from a technology perspective.
Yeah, cool.
So cool.
That's good take.
Daniel, thank you so much for sitting down with us. We've run over, which is thank you for running over with us as well. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on everything, and thanks again. We'd love to have you back on anytime.
Keep us updated.
Thank you.
Great to meet you.
Cheers, Daniel. Thank you. Daniel, everybody.
Daniel
That is CFO, sorry, of I nearly said CEO again. I keep promoting him. I really want Daniel to be CEO of Synthesia. Sorry, Victor. Sorry, Stefan. I just make Daniel CEO.
Who is Victor, right?
Yeah, Victor's CEO. I think they're co-CEO. Oh no, sorry. Stefan's CTO, right?
Yeah.
Co-founders.
They're co-founders, yeah. Well, there's 4 co-founders of Synthesia.
Is it 4 total?
I believe so. I don't know. Anyway, quick word from our sponsor. Airwallex, leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one place. Go to airwallex.com to go and leave outdated business banking behind. Next on the show, we have Paul
CPO
Adams
of
Intercom. Customer service agent is going to be a good chat. We're going to talk to him. We previously had, who did we have on it?
Des Trainer.
Des Trainer we had. And that was a wicked conversation.
Yeah, really good. Really good conversation. So interesting, like the whole Thin story, the pivot that they made with Intercom after the release of GPT, like really, the fact that a large company can have that much agility is very cool, I think. And Des had some really cool words on that, and I know that Paul's been very outspoken about it as well. Well,
Paul was like in that.
He was stuck right there. Yeah, he was the guy. He was the guy. He was the literal guy.
Paul is the guy.
I want to ask a few questions about that. Those Facebook days as well.
So how was it being the guy?
How was it being the guy at Facebook and at Intercom as well? But that head of brand design, I want to kind of dig into that. I feel like that would have been a really fun.
So I'm going to ask a few questions about. So we also had Tyler Dencon on Tuesday. Obviously, he is kind of known, I guess, I want to say maybe famous in the tech circle for being super close to his product in the fact that he literally runs 130,000 subscriber newsletter, and he is building a newsletter platform, or actually more updated on that, an all-in-one kind of like operational content operation platform. But I want to ask him a little bit more about being close to the product. How that works and all of that kind of stuff. But before we do that, shall we jump into some town square bits?
Yeah, did we finish the?
We kind of did, yeah.
The Zuck thing.
And we were talking about Meta Ray-Bans and Zuck kind of like doubling down on the kind of like personal super intelligence stuff and moving away from the metaverse.
We kind of finished with that, didn't we? I want to bring up this tweet, which I think is hilarious. So this is, let me just share my screen there. This is from Paula Rambles, aka Paula. Being a niche tech Twitter micro celebrity is fun because you'll post something silly, and then 2 days later, 1 or 2 guys in a podcast studio will read your tweet out loud, try to explain it, and go, so true. Let's explain this. What did you think she meant by this?
It's so true.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I felt seen. I felt seen when I saw that from Paula. So shout out to Paula.
Two tech bros.
Just
Talking on a podcast.
Yapping away. But that is Paula Rambles, aka Paula.
Thanks, Paula. We appreciate it.
Also follows the stream.
Oh, she does?
Thank you, Paula.
Oh, no way. Maybe she's watching.
Nice.
I want to talk about Necco Health. They've just opened in Birmingham. Bit of a rogue move. This comes days. This comes days after moving over to the US, which I think is super funny.
They announced New York.
Announced coming to New York. Everyone's like, yeah, Necco Health, absolutely killing it. Whatever. Daniel X, an absolute beast. All of this kind of stuff. And then they announced going to Birmingham.
It's Birmingham.
So Necco Health tweets out yesterday on the January 28th. Today, we're opening the doors to Necco Health in Birmingham. With this opening, our first of 2026. Maybe not first in the UK. Does that mean? I don't really know. We've evolved our palette of colours, materials, and artwork to bring a true uniqueness to this location.
Nice.
We look forward to welcoming you in soon for a scan at 10 Livery Street. To be fair, the outside does look pretty nice.
I'm not sure if this will show correctly on stream because we have it adjusted, but just a quick snapshot.
Flick through.
That's kind of looks like the set of Severance a little bit.
Yeah, doesn't look like the nicest set in the world.
No, it looks nice. I think it looks lovely. It just looks a little bit like the set of Severance, that last photo. But I realised that we didn't get a proper chance to cover Moltbot after my notes on it.
Of course.
We kind of skipped over.
Yeah, let's do it.
Moltbot.
Let's do Moltbot. I feel like we kind of have to cover this, being a tech show.
Yeah. Well, we can get it up. Let's just go back to the town square. We can get it up in a sec. I'll try and find it. But what was another breaking story recently that was, for me, this was incredibly odd to see this get called out, but it's Brian Johnson calling out AG1. This did some numbers yesterday. Let me get this one up. So Brian Johnson, for those who don't know Brian, he is the advocate for Don't Die. He is reversing his age. Everyone knows this. Kind of went viral after his Netflix documentary, but has been in the space for a while. I think it was Braintree was his previous company, which he sold for something like 800 million, just absolutely insane, and has since been trying to reverse his age through preventative health measures. Brian says...
He's called out AG1.
Yeah, he says, I'll cancel your AG1 subscription. They just completed a clinical trial and the results show no clinical benefit. This has been obvious for years. AG1 has no real product substance and is fundamentally an influencer heist.
Wild.
Two simple alternatives, 75% and 56% less cash, outperform AG1 in randomized clinical trials. The simple mono-ingredient alternatives that outperform AG1, chicory inulin 12 grams daily at 20 a month, resistant starch 30 grams daily for 12 weeks. Fascinating. That's Brian Johnson. I mean, there's a lot more.
How many views did the tweet get?
12k likes, 1.6 million views.
There you go.
But Brian's always dropping bangers though. He's always going viral, especially his recent live shroom trip that he did as well. Actually, if you saw that, the shroom sitters were like
still going
CEOs of like massive companies as well. It's crazy. Naval was involved, I think, somehow.
I'm just getting word that we have Paul in the studio.
Oh, amazing!
Paul, can you hear us?
Huge. Okay,
we're just waiting for a thumbs up from our producer to say that you're live.
Live on stream. Amazing. How are we? It's so good to have you on.
Likewise, yeah. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
No, thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We've we've been very excited to have you on. This is our second Intercom interview we've done. We had Des on a few months ago. I think it was maybe our first or second month. We had an absolute blast learning more about Intercom, more about Fin AI. New people have joined the stream since then. So maybe just to kick off, would you mind introducing yourself, your role, and I guess what is Intercom, but also what is Fin AI? Because I think last time we had to get sort of like a double explanation, if that's okay.
Yeah, you might still get a double explanation.
Absolutely fine.
Yeah. I'm Paul Adams. I've worked at Intercom a long time, since the very, very beginning, so over a decade. I run our product team. On paper, at least, I've run our product team since the very beginning. These days, I actually run marketing much more than product. The product leadership team and Des, who you mentioned earlier, actually do most of the product leadership these days. I've moved over to marketing and trying to think about how we market our product. In this day and age, marketing is changing dramatically, as is building software and products. So that's what I've been doing. Intercom, we're, like I said, around over a decade. We're a customer communications product, so helping businesses, mostly technology businesses or businesses that had some kind of internet presence, talk to their customers and try and get new customers. And so initially we kind of pioneered business messaging, so kind of think of it as WhatsApp for businesses and customers to talk to each other, with a big giant platform behind to kind of understand your customer base and get insights into them and so on. Most recently, we're much more now an AI company. We took a huge bet, made an enormous bet at the very, very beginning, just right after ChatGPT was announced. We kind of just could see this was a one-way door, the kind of iPhone moment that was going to kick off a brand new technology cycle. So we bet the company on AI, and we built Finn, which is our AI agent. Finn does customer service. So you talk to Finn, and then if Finn can't answer the query, it will hand you over to the human team. It's been a huge success, and most of our energy, the vast majority of energy these days, is all on Finn. So Finn's very much the future of the company. And Finn's going to do more than service. Finn does customer service today, but we have working versions where Finn is doing sales, and it'll do customer success. And so we believe that the inevitability of this space is that a business will have a single customer agent, we hope it's Finn, to talk to their customers, and that's what we're building.
Just
awesome.
So one question straight off the back is like, you've been there from the start. That is so nuts that it was just sort of, the script was just ripped up. GPT comes out, like pivot straight away. Can you maybe just like a little bit about?
Yeah, we've asked Des, but maybe get.
I'd love to hear
another
again,
flavor.
Man.
Yeah,
it's just so nuts. Like, what does that day look like? Like, what you go to work, GPT drops, and then it's like, what happens then?
Well then.
Yeah, it was a very risky thing to do at the time, to be honest. Looking back, it was a great decision, and since then we've made other big bets too. Like this shift from Finn being a customer service agent to being a customer agent is a bet as well, But at the time, we were kind of pattern matching at the time. We had a machine learning team here. Machine learning is the kind of, old school way to describe AI. And we had a machine learning team here since kind of 2015, 2016. We've been building products, machine learning products. We kind of knew the domain. As a leadership team, we had people, Owen and Des. Owen's our co-founder and CEO. Who are strategic, visionary inventors. Like we all kind of self-identify as kind of inventors, and we want to build new things and think about the future and so on. So we had good kind of DNA and culture to take a big bet like that. And then we're just, like I said, pattern matching. Some of us have kind of seen this movie before. I was working at Google, for example, building our first version of mobile apps and products, and the first version of Android was being built when the iPhone came out. So we're just like, hey, you can kind of just see the pattern, like history repeats itself, And so, and at the time, not everything is an obvious thing in hindsight. It was, but the metaverse existed and blockchain and all sorts of different things like that. So who knows at the time if we were going to be right? So it was a bet, but we kind of believed that we, in a way, had nothing to lose. Like it was, if we were right, having built products in this space with the machine learning team, customer service was going to get entirely disrupted, like turned inside out and upside down. And as a company that builds a customer service product, we better be there first. So that was the thinking.
So cool.
And
awesome.
I want to dive deeper into your role now. Specifically, you mentioned that you do most of your work in the marketing side. How does that look? How has that changed from when you did kind of start at Intercom and now? And what's the kind of thesis going forward for Finn and how everything's changing? Things are changing every week. What's the kind of main thesis that's driving everything you're doing at Finn for the marketing side?
Yeah. So it is kind of an interesting thing to like interrogate. Why do we have a product leader leading marketing? like I said, I think marketing is changing quite dramatically. And one of the things I did maybe kind of this time last year, actually, I went down this kind of deep research rabbit hole using deep research, from OpenAI. I went down this rabbit hole, which was what happened when the internet came out? Like, why did Google win? Why didn't Yahoo win? And what happened to like Ask Jeeves and AltaVista and Excite and Lycos and all these are all like good products with a lot of money behind them. Why did Google win? And I kind of did the same thing for mobile. Why were Facebook? I mean, I worked after Google. I worked at Facebook, and why did Facebook win? Like, what happened before I was even there in the very, very early years? And so there's very clear patterns that emerge. And one pattern that emerges is that to win in the beginning of this new technology cycle, you must have an objectively strong product, like objectively good. Not you think it's good, like by external measurement, it's like technically good. Like, Google was the best technology, like PageRank, and it was just better. It was just way better than anything Yahoo had built. So you need a technically excellent product, and then you need to be able to market that excellently. You have to explain that it's better, explain why it's better. And so you need this kind of deep product understanding to do excellent marketing during these times. So that was kind of one of the genesis of it. And then the other side of it is that marketing, especially in technology, marketing for the last decade has been all about polish and refinement and very, very coordinated messaging and campaigns. And so the marketing you see produced is highly produced, and people don't want that anymore. Like AI creates stuff like this easily, and a lot of it's kind of crappy, like AI slop. And so I think there's a huge trend, a huge shift in the type of content people want to consume. And I think this trend's going to grow and increase, which is that people need to know the thing is real. Like, is that a real person? Is that really Paul? And is that thing he's showing me a Hollywood demo? Or is it like, no, it's a real product. Look, here, it's clearly real. You can't fake that. That's okay, I get it now. And so people are looking for like real people with real products that truly work. We're in this kind of like post-truth marketing era, for better, for worse. And so that's what we're trying to do. And that's what I've been trying to change in Intercom.
That's such an awesome... there's so many parallels to what
I was going to say more specifically, you do a lot of video stuff on LinkedIn. Is that why? Is that that's you're pushing towards the kind of real side of it?
Yeah, like I'm pushing us very strongly towards video.
Yeah,
and I call it like personal brands, but like big people, like you guys. I mean, you guys are doing something very, very similar. It's clearly you guys. It's real. It's raw. It's live. It's unscripted. I think what you're doing is actually very much where marketing is going. It's very, very similar. So it's video, it's real people, it's real demos. So yeah, all the LinkedIn stuff is just us experimenting, putting stuff out there, seeing what resonates or not, seeing what works or not. That's very much the plan.
Yeah, that's it's very thank you as well. It's very nice to hear that you sort of feel that this is where it's going. But I feel that what you say we resonate with so closely. Like we discussed it on the show quite a lot. That there was a viral article that went out. Well, one we discuss all the time is the Wall Street Journal's article about companies are desperately trying to hire storytellers. Right, they're trying to tell their brand story authentically. They're trying to find like alternate means as to like methods to reach their customers in an authentic way. A lot of that is brand building. A lot of that is community building, and also creating content to meet your customers where they're at. But the second thing was like there's this. You mentioned the AI slop stuff, right? And I remember if we talk about like the Turing test for a second, like can it fool someone that it's not AI, right? And I think we've kind of passed that now. But with the AI slop videos, I used to see it and be like, okay, this girl's got 4 or 5 fingers. Like, okay, that's obviously not real. There's the Will Smith eating spaghetti one that was like kind of crazy. That was like the main one that was going around. But it's got so good and it's got a lot better. It's got a lot better and a lot better to the point now where I'm seeing it's definitely non-native AI folk who are consuming AI videos do not know that it is AI. Like we have definitely passed that threshold. They have absolutely no clue. I'm seeing it on Facebook. I'm seeing it on Instagram. I'm seeing some of it on X as well. There was a viral one that's going around recently about a polar bear throwing its own cub into a boat, and then the humans rescue it, and then the polar bear comes back and he gives the humans fish as a present. It's like polar bears are the only animal known to kill humans on sight, right? But that's the only reason why someone might be able to deduce that it's fake. It's like the only thing now I feel is the ridiculousness of the video. If I'm watching like Stephen Hawking in a UFC fight, it's probably fake. But like the fact that I can only base that now off the ridiculousness of the video is, I think, is like an interesting thing. I think we've reached this crazy point.
It's going to get better too. Like, one thing I'm constantly reminding people of here, and externally too, like most of my friends don't work in tech, so they keep me grounded as well.
Me and you the same.
It's very good for me. But one thing I tell people here and externally is, this is the worst it's ever going to be. And so on the video side, like it's actually going to become even more indistinguishable from reality, and so people are going to need other ways in which to determine if something is real. I think like there'll be some technologies around like the origin of video, and there might be like, watermarks, or maybe that will work. But I actually think the changes in society the kind of biggest change might be broader than that. And so, for example, one thing we're seeing a huge change in is we had huge success in events last year in marketing. All our events are oversubscribed, and people show up and they stick around. They come. We're talking about customer service, and we're talking about like how to do it and AI, and they all stay till the end, and they hang out afterwards and have a few drinks, or whatever's going, tea, coffee, and there's huge energy to meet in real life. And I think that's like in part a reaction to the idea that like, well, hey, online, I don't know who's who and what's real or what's not. And so people are like increasingly yearning for direct connection because they know in real life it can't be faked. And so some of the second order effects of this incredibly amazing technology that can produce videos that aren't real, that looks real, might be actually things like people meet up in real life a lot more.
Which is a great thing.
It's great. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, I was in New York last week at an event we have called Blueprint, which is all about like teaching people the blueprint for transforming their company in the era of AI. And like, it's awesome. People are just really want to learn. The appetite. People are kind of lost at times or confused, and AI is intimidating. It's a black box. Even the depths of how Fin works, I don't understand them. Anthropic, I'm sure, and OpenAI in places in their development don't understand how their tools work. And so it's just a very opaque technology. And because of that, I think people want to discuss it live, with other people for real, because that's how they're going to learn, and it can't be faked. They know that they're genuinely getting a kind of a two-way dialogue.
Yeah, so awesome.
I guess it's easy. It's beneficial for you leading the marketing team by being close, like literally, you're speaking face to face with potential customers, and then just actual customers. And I mentioned this earlier, but we had CEO of Beehive, Tyler Denk, on the show on Tuesday. And I don't know if you know of him, but he runs basically a newsletter platform, and he owns a newsletter that has over 100,000 subscribers, and every product update is pushed through him and through his newsletter, and that's how he stays close to the product. And obviously that's a function of marketing. Is for you guys, and you specifically, how do you stay close to the product, but then also close to the customers? You're mentioning that the product is inherently AI, but then also your customers are wanting in-person stuff. How does that kind of dynamic work, and how do you think about it as the lead marketer of Fin?
Yeah. I mean I do know the newsletter. I think that some like call us founder-led marketing, but I think the themes are very consistent with what I was saying earlier. Like, why is it the founder or the CEO? It's because they're the leader and the real person and the builder and the maker of the company. Again, like in the past, a product launch announcement, even the biggest product launch announcement, would often be delivered by a product marketer or a marketing leader. That doesn't happen anymore, and we don't do it either. Like, I have our product team delivering these. Like we have a monthly product announcement for Finn. So there's one going out today actually for January, and we did one in December. And it's just the product leaders showing the product, just explaining what they've built and why, demonstrating it. And I think it's because the founder, the CEO, or the person building the product themselves, they have the most instinct and intuition for how to talk about it. And the space is moving so fast. It's very, very hard. Like we have a challenge internally, as I'm sure all technology companies do right now. We have a challenge to try and translate the lessons we're learning at the pace of the product and engineering team all the way down through marketing to the sales team. Like it's happening so fast. And so, I feel for people in the sales team in all these companies who are at the end of a daisy chaining of rapidly improving and changing technology. And so I think the reason that founders and product builders are front and center is because often they're best placed to talk about this most naturally and they know the most about it. But I think they're also using it, and we certainly are, they're using it as that connection. Like, again, if you kind of daisy chain from product to marketing to sales, you can go the other way too and say well, the sales team actually know the customer the best. They're the ones talking to the customer all the time, and the feedback has to go back up the chain too. So one thing we've been trying to do is collapse the chain so that the product people are getting close to talking to customers about the new things that they're launching directly. And the sales team are getting closer to the product team so they can directly influence the roadmap or explain, hey, the ways in which we describe this product don't make sense to people. So, I don't know if that answers your question really, but I think the direct connection and collapsing these chains of communication is critical because the thing just moves too fast. The technology is moving too fast. So that's what we're trying to do at Finn. Finn is changing rapidly. We ship multiple updates a week, and it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I've seen you guys firsthand with all the community and the event stuff that you guys do as well. John Roche and I've been chatting quite a lot. He does startups for Intercom. He's always nifting between SF, London. He's in Helsinki for Slush as well. He's an absolute animal. I went, you guys had a dinner with Vanta recently that I was at, and yeah, he's an amazing guy. So shout out to you, John. If you're listening, you're a legend. But going back and maybe slightly what I'd love to get the updates or the. What can we look forward to from Intercom for 2026 first? And then after, just as we come towards the end of the interview, I just have one question about the Facebook days as well.
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, we have this vision. I'm going to start in a different place for a minute. So customer agent is the future, but actually we have this mission. We kind of updated our company mission recently. And we have this mission that we now believe that perfect customer experiences are possible. And I literally mean perfect. What does that mean? Perfect is different for different people in different scenarios. But literally, people would walk away and go, "I'd change nothing about that. It was fantastic. I got the thing done and I moved on in my life." Because at the end of the day, as much as I like people talking with Finn, our business is using our to talk to customers, people have other things to do too. You don't wake up excited to solve your customer service problem. So that's the goal. Perfect customer experiences. By default, every single time for every single customer, not just for VIPs, but everyone, the free plan, everybody gets perfect experience. And we think it's possible. The technology, even if it's stalled today, the technology we have today with Finn is good enough to do that. It's a kind of configuration challenge. It's an investment challenge, that the customers and users of Finn properly, deeply integrate Finn into their company and their technology stack. So that's kind of our mission, and we think it's very, very doable. And I think it's a great problem to solve because customer service and customer experience, the majority of the time, is not good. The kind of economics don't work. You can't just keep throwing human capital at more and more customer questions. The economics don't work. It's too expensive. Humans are very expensive. And so our mission is to create this perfect customer experience for everybody every single time. And then do that through this customer agent, this single customer agent. It can kind of seamlessly blend between service and sales. It can start activate customers, engage them, onboard them. It'll reach out. It'll be proactive as well as reactive. And then the business will give Finn memory, context, business goals, and Finn will be Finn will literally have agency. An agent will have agency. Kind of sounds obvious, but it'll have agency to do what it thinks it should. and it'll upsell a customer or cross sell, or maybe downgrade the customer to a cheaper plan if that's the right thing to do. The business will set the goals for Finn, and Finn will attempt to go and achieve the goals. So we think it's quite exciting, and it's early still. AI, we're early in this world, but the progress is faster than we think, and Finn can already start to do sales and things like that quite well.
That's super exciting. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so cool.
yeah, we got to get some Finn up in here. I mean, we
Yeah.
Two Finns here.
Really perfect customer service.
Coming towards the end, Facebook, we have to ask, like, you were head of, like, was it global design and brand at Facebook, right? Is that?
Yeah, I actually joined in the design org, and then two weeks later ended up being a product manager. But I'm not the world's best product manager. The operational side is not my strength. Let's put it that way. So I went back to design, and my job was basically working with Facebook. Had amazing, like, a who's who of Fortune 100 companies, like. So I was working with, like, Nike and Coca-Cola and Starbucks, and I was basically working in a role where we were trying to get these global brands to build on the Facebook platform. So it's very, very cool. Like, Starbucks were doing a lot of social payment stuff. Nike were doing, like, community building with their kind of Nike run products at the time. That was the job. And I had a fancy title to make me sound very important.
Well, I'm sure you were.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Thank you so much for spending the time. We appreciate it. It's been cool.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. It's fun.
Nah, been our pleasure, man. Thank you. Open seat to come back anytime as well. Cheers.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Paul.
Great
Have
to
a
meet
good
you.
one.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Ciao. Bye. So awesome.
Just a quick word from our sponsor, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. Next on the show, we have Paula. We're just waiting. Can you hear us, Paula?
Amazing. Let's go.
We're just waiting for our producer to give us a thumbs up that you are live on ETN.
We are just looking around.
How are you today? All good?
Great.
Oh, you're live, by the way.
We are live on ETN. Paula, welcome.
Hello. How are you?
is,
Thanks for having me.
No,
of
it's
course.
our
Thanks for joining.
absolute pleasure.
How early is it in the morning? You're in New York?
It's just before 8 a.m. So I am
Okay.
fresh. You're my first meeting call.
That's cool. Starting
Looking
the
out
morning
at New
with
York. It's great weather. So
us.
Amazing.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's well, the weather here is
Not
nice
very
at all.
nice.
It's
Yeah,
absolutely
you'll be happy that you're not in London.
Yep.
Well, look, thank you so much for joining us. It's probably worth we always say to this to our guests, maybe worth just having an introduction about who you are, what general intuition is, and also you just announced the fact that you're new media fellow at A16Z.
Some manual round of
so
applause, the
congratulations
highest
that.
honor
That's
on the
really
show.
Cool.
So cool.
Yeah, a little bit of an introduction, and then we'll go from there.
Yes. I'm Paula. I was a venture capitalist until recently. I was a partner at General Catalyst in the Europe office, then recently moved to New York to join a very early stage AI lab called General Intuition. Happy to also talk a little bit about that, but kind of VC turned operator in the States now, but European originally. So kind of still holding up both flags. General Intuition is a new foundational AI research lab, and we focus on models that can reason on time and space. So basically models that you could put out into the real world like humans and who understand naturally kind of what's going on in three-dimensional space and how to act in it. So use cases are obviously like all sorts of kind of physical embodiment. And our thesis is really that there needs to be a paradigm after LLMs, because LLMs, obviously based on language is always an abstraction of the real world and of our understanding of the real world, because it's just a way we compress reality to be able to communicate it. And so we kind of take an approach that goes more into this spatial temporal piece. Yeah. We actually train our models initially on gaming clips. So gaming is sort of like episodic memory of humans acting in simulation. And so that's like kind of our really quick summary. And interestingly, General Intuition is sort of an American-European mixed company.
So we have a bunch of our researchers are European. Our CEO is originally from the Netherlands, but we have our headquarters here in New York. So it's a perfect combo between the two places, and to bring some of our European style to the US and vice versa.
Hell yeah.
That's super interesting.
That's awesome. That sounds like a nuts company. I hadn't heard of General Intuition. That sounds
It's pretty
Yeah.
new, right? It's
We can we definitely send we should send our CEO Pim on the stream soon.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'd love to
Yeah,
do
it'd be
that. I have to ask then. So I don't know whether this is is the phrase you've gone from the dark side to the light side, or is the phrase you've gone from the light side to the dark side? I guess it's whoever's looking at
Whoever
the question.
you're talking to, exactly.
Yeah. But maybe just to start, like, I'd love, General Catalyst, friends of the stream, amazing venture company. Just do absolutely amazing work across the board all the time.
Absolutely.
That transition, why make the switch from venture to the operator side?
Yeah, so it was really kind of just this specific company. GC also led the seed round at General Intuition. So we raised 133 million from GC and Khosla last year. Wow. And kind of in that process, I got to know the team, and it was just a total hell yes, both from a mission, the kind of, level of frontier that we're working at, but then also the team. And it was also like, I was also for personal reasons moving to New York. So it was kind of like a great moment of shakeup for me to, also see something else. I'd worked in venture for 5 years. So I was part of the La Familia team before. So worked with Jeanette for 5 years very closely. And, so it was like kind of just a great moment to learn something new additionally. But, totally agree. GC does amazing work. And it was, so much fun to be part of building that in Europe. But, now just a different vantage point.
That's super interesting. How does that even come about? As a venture investor, investing in the company and then becoming, an early member of that company. How does that kind of thing come about? Because we had, who was it? Madeline at Aikido did a similar thing with Aikido, where she was the venture investor that was, I guess, worked on the deal, and then moved into
chief growth officer. She was. I think they did her seed, and then at Series A or something, she moved over.
Yeah. So how does that work, like specifically? Or is it just?
I think it's like anything. Many things are, initially vibe based. So you have great conversations, and Pim, our CEO, obviously like a European in New York, like me. So we had already started. My husband and I had started going back and forth because he expanded his startup to here. And so, just got to talking also that I was moving here, and, he was kind of like just talking about building the team and the headquarters in New York, and like what types of people he was currently bringing on. And just like during those conversations, I was like, that actually sounds like amazing. And so, yeah, I think it's a lot of serendipity, honestly. Like it never happened to me before on the venture side that I was like, this feels like a spot that I should be in. But yeah, so I would say serendipity vibes initially, and then, and then it becomes like increasingly clear. I don't think it's like a total playbook. I think it's also different than, I was also a consultant before, of course. There they like get actively poached by the companies that they do like consulting projects for. I think in venture, it's a little bit less like that. But obviously you build like a close relationship with people, and sometimes it clicks in that way.
Awesome 100%. Stuff. And speaking of serendipity, speaking of vibes, A16Z New Media Fellow, the first cohort I think they've announced for. We've got a round of applause going for you there, but I think it's the
Very
first
funny.
cohort.
Sorry.
No, you go, please.
No, I was just saying it's just funny to cheer for that. I have like done absolutely nothing, but.
we think it's amazing.
The team for sure. Like I'm very excited. So I'm super excited and thankful. Don't feel like I've done anything here, but no,
you must have earned it.
Fun thing.
So tell us more about it then. What does it mean?
Yeah. So, A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz, for those who don't know, obviously like one of the US mega funds, one of the very, very successful venture firms, also like rather a new entrant, right? So they're not like a 30-year-old sort of behemoth. They're like kind of in that way new. Jordan is that like the two founders of the fund are still running it, and they have like a very strong focus and thesis around comms and marketing. And like their whole thing is, I don't think they said this themselves, but someone else said like they're a media company that's monetizing through investing, because they put so much focus, and they were kind of really the first to do that when it was like still controversial or was like not the norm, to say like we have own podcasts, we have like own writing, we have like all these kind of own media channels, and we really go very hard on Twitter and various different kind of social channels, because they kind of said if we have media power ourselves, we can use that for our portfolio to kind of hammer home their messages, and in general also hammer home the messages of like little tech, they call it, so non-big tech players, and helping them with their agenda. And like they just saw the power of comms really early, and they have a whole team for this internally, a mix of like writers, filmmakers, like all these people who are like able to create amazing media. And one of their GPs, Eric Torenberg, came from a background of building communities and building podcasts and stuff, so he like leads that now. It's like very mysterious and people love it, and it's like very exciting, and I think a lot of people wanted to be closer to that and understand that, and they made like this program. It's I think now 65 people in the program, where they bring together non-internal A16Z people who are building media things out in the world. So it's a mix of like people who are content creators with large followings on all different platforms. So there's people who are YouTubers, X, Instagram, like there's a whole variation of different content creators in that group, but also operators at startups who lead comms, who lead marketing. So there's like representatives who do those things at the big labs, like all the big labs, there's someone in the group. There's just a group of people who are creating media out there and taking different approaches. And there's also like some really unexpected types in there that I found really funny. Like I think someone who works at like one of the, I think it's CB Insights, and like creates these graphs and has to create them such that people share them as much as possible after the publishing. So just like
it's such a fun job.
Angles where you're like, how do I communicate something so that people like it, share it, that it distributes a message like at scale, basically.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about your journey as a creator. Obviously, I don't know if you do much on many other platforms, but particularly Instagram is kind of like, I see the main one, I think. What's the, tell us about the experience posting as a VC on, being a creator in the kind of tech bubble. What was the thesis behind that for you? Was it just a genuine interest in it? Did you want anything more to come out of it, or what's the idea behind it?
Yeah. So I started like the opposite of strategically. I was not like, oh, let me now new media fellows, like I didn't foresee any of that. I was like, my really strong impression was that we as a society will, I think, increasingly communicate through short form video. And by that, I just mean, I think it's like not just intellectuals who are like, or it's not just non-intellectuals who are watching short form video, everyone does. It's extremely addicting. And so I think a lot of the messages of the internet like will be told over short form video. And I was like, I would like to be in a position where I'm able to also create that, not just consume it. And I don't want to be like, the millennial who is just like sitting on TikTok addicted to it, but doesn't understand how else to talk to it. So I just like did that as an experiment. That was super fun. And like initially, or still, like I cringe at myself a lot. I need to get, I will get over that, but it comes in waves. But initially really bad, like just random stuff. I was just like, I'm gonna see like how it compounds. And then I started realizing like what really works for me is like when I tell either like stories from across my career, if I curate lists of startups for people, because the world of startups, if you're not a VC, you don't have that overview. And then, like little just things around tech and startups just there were a lot of those that really hit, and then it became like increasingly fun. And now I've like, because it does like, it's not like no work, so I often ask myself like, do I want to continue doing it? But what I've really realized, it's a great vehicle to like communicate one to many and to create rapport with people who've never met you before. So it also means that a lot of people see you and don't like you, but there's going to be a few who really connect with you and like you, and that's, you know, who you can talk to, and you can like, I don't know, I'm currently like hiring a couple of roles at General Intuition, posted on Instagram. I get amazing leads on Instagram because people, like every human like is basically on there. It's, even though it's not LinkedIn, but they're there and they feel like connected to you. So that's pretty much why I do it now, that it's just fun to connect with people who, you know, who then already are kind of like in my team, you know.
Yeah. No, I think it's such a great way because, as you mentioned, like it's very serendipitous. It feels serendipitous in the fact that, you know, you're on, I don't know, the tube or the subway or whatever in New York, like, and you just post something, and that is a great piece of content. But in some, you know, people who are creating, it has to be super polished. But you know, it doesn't have to be for your account, which I think is a really cool thing.
I remember seeing one thing that
people say they feel like I'm on FaceTime with them. And
that's a good way of putting it. I like that.
Yeah, it's super personable, right?
Exactly.
I remember seeing one thing. I think this was on LinkedIn, but it was something that you posted. I think it was you'd taken some of the short form stuff and maybe put it on LinkedIn. I can't remember, but it was about this. The coffee shop scandal or something in Berlin, where like they increased their prices, or no, they lowered their prices, and everyone was in like an outrage. I can't remember can you remember that story? Because I found it really interesting.
That was the only video I've ever posted on LinkedIn too. I'm not at the point where I can like have myself yapping into the camera all the time.
I remembered it. I thought it was great. I thought it was good.
But this one, okay. So the story really quickly, Lab Coffee, also someone worth having on the stream, by the way, the founder. So the controversy with them is that they're like, that they basically bring this like cool branded mini coffee shop. It's a bit, you know, I think comparable to Blank Street Coffee in London. And they bring it sort of to various neighborhoods. And it like pops up everywhere now. And the coffee's pretty cheap. So they didn't lower the price, it's just their model. And people are basically saying it's like price dumping, it's like pushing out local coffee shops, etc. So that's like where the controversy comes from. And I like took the very opposite stance to say, this is why like Germany struggles sometimes with innovation, because like anything that is new, even if you don't like it, like you obviously not everyone has to like this coffee or this shop, but then people are like there was like graffiti on them, like saying like all these like they were getting basically like pressure from the left and the right. Like it was like a political thing suddenly. And yeah, people were like vandalizing the stores. And I just took the stance that like, yeah, someone's trying something new and no investor will fund that for years and years if it's price dumping and it's not profitable. Like that's not also how investing works. Like maybe they'll do it for a little bit, but as you can see with many other models where there's like a consumer surplus, like it goes away if it's not also doing good business. And I just had that take and it worked. Like Instagram really liked it, posted on LinkedIn then. And the crazy thing was the Financial Times Germany then quoted me from this video.
No way.
And some other newspaper as well. And it was just hilarious because then it became like my take that was like in newspapers. So that was kind of funny. So again, you can see, and there's other examples, by the way, of my social media work, where it ends up like bringing me interesting opportunities where people like, you know, want me to then weigh in on something, or, you know, I've also gotten in touch with really awesome, like new friends and leaders across the media industry and so on. So,
I'm sure.
You know, more to come.
Yeah, I think like overall net positive about posting on social media.
Yeah, just eat the cringe.
You don't have to be a creator posting amazing content. Just get it out there. What would you give as advice to anyone who's maybe starting their career or also wanting to pretend, you know, they might be working as a VC or in a startup or whatever, and they want to start posting content, all of that kind of stuff. What's the kind of main bit of advice, I guess?
I think like one piece of advice is don't create, but document what you're doing anyways. So I think there's like a big hurdle if you have to like sit down and now I will create and you have to like pull something out of thin air. That I think is like a tough hurdle, but just think about what you already know, because there's always interesting stuff in there that is not obvious to other people. So I don't know, like maybe something this week that happened at work, like distilling that into a learning, or in my case, as when I was still a VC and now I invest in it as an angel, so I still have the vantage point of interesting startups. Like that's something I have that list in my head anyways, and so just making it digestible for others. I think that's how I would always start. And yeah, I think you have to be okay with being seen. Like you have to get over that. And I also think we're at a point now where it just does not matter anymore. There, so many people are posting. Like, who cares? Like, I don't ever now run into like someone who posts a video on Instagram and feel like, why are they posting? It's become so normal that I think you really can get over that, because no one cares, and some people will care in a positive way.
There you go.
That's the main
You
thing.
heard it there first.
No one cares, but some people do in a positive way.
Yeah, some people will connect with you and the rest doesn't care.
We love to hear it. Paula, thank you so much for spending time with us. Congratulations on the new media fellow, and we'll have to catch up
Your
about
new role as well. It's cool.
Your
Yeah,
general
I'll keep
intuition
you
as well.
posted. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolute
stuff.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
All the best. Up next.
Next on the show, we have David Eckstein. He is the new CFO of Legora, announced as of what
I think
was
it was
half an hour ago or something?
11:30 a.m. UK time.
Okay, a little bit longer than
Was
that.
it David? Breaking news, and we are incredibly grateful that you're sat here with us right now. Massive congrats on the move, first of all. We've got the crowd going wild already. Before we go on to the new stuff with Legora, I just want to make sure that we mention like Vanta. You did a 3-year stint there. You were integral to the company. You were instrumental in raising the Series C round, 150 million at 2.45 billion valuation. You were there when they crossed 100 million ARR. What was some of like the best parts of being at Vanta? It's such an amazing
Are we live,
company.
by the way, as well? Are we live? Okay, well, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The Vanta journey was unforgettable, and I feel so blessed to have been there for those 3 years. I think it was an incredible company building moment. The leadership, the talent. I leave that company with unbelievable stability. That company is going to go on to create billions of dollars of shareholder value, and I feel extremely confident that that company is in an incredibly good place. So what a wonderful journey. The company is rock solid, and I couldn't leave it in better hands.
Awesome. No, so amazing. Cool. And then again, we congrats on the news. This is as you say, this news came out at 11:30 today. Why for us Legora it's one of the hallmarks of Europe right now, right? Alongside the Lovables, alongside the Synthesias, alongside the Attios, the Granolas. It's such a rocket ship. What was it for you that sort of brought you into Legora?
So I have an unfair advantage. As a CFO, CFOs get to look underneath the hood. And when we unveil what's going on inside of Legora, you guys are going to be blown away. So Legora is not just one of the fastest growing companies in legal tech. Legora is actually one of the fastest growing companies inside of SaaS ever with a sales force. And so when we unveil those numbers, it's going to blow everyone away. It's going to break the records. And so I had insider access into seeing those numbers, inside of seeing those gross retention, those net retention numbers. I got to meet the executive management team, and boy, they are building something special. And so here I am in Sweden right now. We're here for the Global Summit, and the vibes here are unbelievable. I was here at 11 p.m. last night. There were about 100 people blasting music, closing the month, just celebrating the success that we're generating here. And I got to tell you, we are building something very, very special.
That's so cool.
Getting us pumped.
I'm excited
hyped,
for you. Because I noticed or I saw on LinkedIn, Max. Obviously, this is public. Max said that you guys added 7 million ARR in 24 hours, which is like a wild stat. Yeah. I imagine you're probably doing that quite a lot if you're saying the numbers are going to blow us away.
That day, I was actually with Max interviewing in Sweden.
Oh, really?
Numbers were coming in. It was the end of the fiscal year, and it was just blowing away all of the expectations. And 11 Labs had actually just posted their information. They just had like a record-breaking day. And Max is like, wouldn't it be amazing if we post our information? Let the law firms, the in-house legal teams around the world know how well we're doing. Let's shine a microscope on the success that we're generating, because we are creating so much momentum. And so we put it out to the world. And I think it sent waves out there. And so it clearly reached you. It reached a lot of the customers in the US, and it generated a lot of buzz.
So cool. I'd love to jump into another question that we have about. We've interviewed Max before. They announced their Series C live on the show, which is a massive opportunity for us to sit down with such an amazing founder. And we're entirely grateful to Jesper and the team for helping us sort that out. But Max he's got such an amazing personality, and it really came through when we interviewed him. There's a famous quote that we love that was in the top of a Sifted article one time that said that, you know, the Legora team, they wake up with the taste of blood in their mouth. They're so determined to win. And I know that you were on Jack Sweeney's podcast, the CFO Thought Leader podcast last year, and you were discussing about the chemistry between the CFO and the CEO. And how important that can be as well, the relationship dynamics between the two. I'd love to know, you know, how has it been sitting down with Max? How are you guys getting on, and how do you think that chemistry thing plays a part in your new phase at Legora?
Wow. Okay. So first of all, Ronan, you clearly have done your research. So very, very.
We're sat with David Eckstein. We have to do our research.
I'm very impressed. Okay. It's there. Like, it's electric. I can tell you, 9, 10 p.m. last night, we are planning. We have the opportunity right now to be together in Sweden, and we're planning for the year ahead. And we're just bouncing ideas off of one another, and we're vibing, and we're connecting, and we're talking about the forecast for the year and how we're going to go to market in the different regions and what countries we're expanding to, and what's the future fundraising strategies, and what investors do we like and what investors we don't like. And there's so much synergy and shared enthusiasm for what we want to build together. And that chemistry is electric. And so we just have a lot of shared interests. And I think we actually it goes back to the way we were brought up together. And so that common upbringing, I think, will allow us to grow together and have a shared vision of where we're going to take this company to.
That's so awesome. It's so awesome to hear. Moving slightly into, I guess, like the thought leadership side of things, and just generally, when we were prepping for this, one of the topics that seemed to come up was AI. Is it a bubble? Is it not a bubble? Right? You've obviously taken a big bet here. You've left Vanta to join. Not that Vanta doesn't have exposure to AI. It obviously does, but Legora is heavily exposed to AI. Can we maybe talk about bubble or no bubble?
Yeah. I mean, I'm betting my career on this, and if you think about every operator, we're basically investors. And the biggest investment that you can make is the investment of your time. And so I'm making a huge investment on the concept of AI. And if you think about it, every breakthrough is the next thing to be disrupted. And so here we're in the largest transformation of my lifetime. And if we rewind the clock for a second, and we go back to the 1910s, right? There were over 250 car companies vying for this concept of the automobile. And then by 1920, there were only 93 car companies vying for the concept of the automobile. And by the end of the decade, there were only 43 car companies vying for the concept of the automobile. And we have a number of car companies today. We're in the same concept today, where AI is disrupting the software that basically wrote it a decade ago. And so here we are in the age of disruption. But today is very different than 1999, and we can just focus on the fundamentals for a second. So let's go down the list. So in 1999, 1% of the market volume was going towards equity issuance. That's a tremendous amount. Today, it's a third, just 0.3% is going to market issuance. And then if you go down the list here, 1/5 of companies in 1999 were unprofitable. Today, it's 1/16 of the S&P 500 are unprofitable. And then the debt to equity ratio was 2-to-1. Today, it's 1-to-1. Companies are a lot more stable. And so the companies that are investing in AI are investing in the future capabilities rather than companies just searching for a business model. Today, there's real product market fit. 1.6 billion people have tried AI, with 500 to 600 million people interacting with AI on a daily basis. This isn't just voyeurism. These are people who have found real value with using AI. I'm often reminded of Mark Cuban's quote, which is, there are companies that are going to embrace AI, and then there are companies that used to exist. And then if you look more at the data with enterprise AI, the amount of money that's being spent on enterprise AI has grown in 2 years from $1.7 billion to $37 billion, which is an unbelievable increase in spend, which tells you that this is a real line item and that this is embedded in budget because organizations are finding real value. And then specifically in our sector, law firms are finding that they can automate up to 16% of their research and their hours with solutions like ours, up from 11% just a year ago. And I think that's underestimating the opportunity. And so I think we are perfectly positioned to reap the rewards of this growing TAM.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I want to ask. Obviously, we've mentioned that Legora is just moving like at a blistering pace. As a CFO, what is the often it's kind of, I use the analogy of like, what levers do you pull to kind of make money go up, basically. When you're moving so quickly, it's quite hard to know what kind of levers to pull to kind of accelerate or do whatever and make sure that you're efficient. How do you see that as a CFO? What's your kind of, how do you see that, opportunity or problem, the way, however you see it? What's your take?
I mean, the numbers, again, underneath the hood are amazing. I look at the quick ratio, the magic number, and there are some benchmarks. There's the burn ratio. There, you can kind of like chart our numbers versus where a business should be. And what it tells me again and again and again is throw money at this because there's so much low-hanging fruit. And if you throw some sales and marketing dollars into this opportunity, it is just waiting for you. And to be honest, we can't hire people fast enough because there are so many dollars that are available to us. The market opportunity is waiting for us. We have thousands of leads that we can't even get to because we don't have enough salespeople in the building. So this is a call to, hey, we want to hire you. Please apply to Legora/careers. We are looking for people right now. We have thousands of leads going unanswered. This is a great opportunity to join Legora.
That's so awesome. Look, we're coming up to time, but David, thank you so much. Well, first of all, congratulations again, and thank you so much for spending this time with us. We've thoroughly enjoyed it.
I hope to see you many times over.
We would very much appreciate that. Best of luck with with the next few days. I'm sure it's going to be busy.
All right, take care. Bye.
Cheers. Thank you, David. Nice one. David Exine, everybody, the new CFO of Legora, just moved over from Banter, where he served for 3 years.
Indeed. Just a quick word from our sponsor, Airwallex. Leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. The multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. That was an awesome interview. That was
awesome interview. I love the energy. Company is killing it.
Trucking. It's so cool.
I'm trying to use my hands to clap here a little bit, but the mic's in my way. But awesome company. Awesome hire as well.
Indeed.
That's that's a big move. Before we get into that, I want to tell you about our friends over at Polymarket. It's the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. Next guest of the day is Steve Hind. Steve Hind? Steve Hind?
Steve
Hind? It's Hind. We'll have to ask him when he comes on.
Hind.
Steve Hind. We're going to go with.
He's the co-founder of Lorikeet.
Lorikeet.
Is another customer service agent.
They've done big couple raises. And Steve was actually on a panel a while back with Michael Badwell.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. They did a panel together. I think it was just after we were acquired, maybe. The mutual connection there, which is really cool. But shout out to the Lorikeet team, though. We've been chatting with a few of the ops team to help us get this set up. So we're excited to jump into it with Steve. Before we go into that conversation, I
wanted to jump into a tweet from our friend Loic, actually.
Nice.
It's the one with the little gap.
Okay, that's how good.
So I'll read it out.
Hold on. What, this one here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Let's go.
Are we good to go? There we go.
Hit the old
Clay AI
share
is
button.
doing its second tender offer in 9 months after jumping from a $1.5 billion valuation to $5 billion. This is a perfect encapsulation of how much startup dynamics have changed. I think it's fair to say that 5 to 6 years ago, it was simply unthinkable for a startup to behave this way. Companies kind of held employees hostage. Founders worth hundreds of millions were seeing the tangible results of the efforts, while staff had to wait for IPO/exits. This was partly due to VC investors who thought that if staff were selling, they didn't believe in the business. The new thinking seems to be that if employees are cashing out, the company must be doing very well. More liquidity creates more people with real capital and real venture experience. Those people start companies, fund companies, advise companies, etc. It's all a very virtuous cycle. Where all boats actually rise with the tide. Secondaries sales are no longer a shameful secret. I thought this was interesting, and he's only just posted it, literally at 12 today.
A breaking tweet.
A breaking tweet, as they say. It was interesting because it's a good take, because when we spoke to Dan Kim at Synthesia, he mentioned very briefly, we didn't touch on it too much, but he mentioned very briefly that the secondary sale, the reason because they did one 6 months ago and then they did another one now with their Series E, was because it's great for employee retention. 5 to 6 years ago, as Loic mentioned, it was, if people are selling their shares early and participating in these, you're bearish on the company. But now the kind of sentiment's changed where what's great is, say if an employee, wants to go and buy a house or whatever, the fact that they can go and participate in a secondary sale means they stay in the company for longer. They're able to kind of reap the reward of the work that they've done. They're happy with the company, and then they get a bit more juice, and they go again, and they go again, and they go again. Yeah. And I think it's such a healthy way to do this. And obviously VC investors, when a company does hit a certain maturity, I don't really know how in time-wise how long that is now, to be honest. But when a company hits a certain maturity, VC investors will want the company to float, will want the company to IPO, because that's how VCs make their money. That's the exit. But for employees, it obviously gives the opportunity for employees to cash out early and remain happy employees.
Yeah.
So it basically helps every side.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's trendy. I think it's cool.
It's trendy, exactly.
Trust is up. Transparency is up. Liquidity is just generally up for this type of thing, which is great. There's a lot of demand for it. I do think it's funny.
And investors can't get enough of private shares of these companies.
Oh, they're loving it.
The VC money flooding into a company because employees are selling their shares is probably the most it's ever been.
Yeah, and I remember the IPO/exit thing. It's somewhat related, but not entirely. But I remember with the WeWork story, this is purely from the dramatized doc I was watching. But when they were running, the IPO fell apart, and there was a horrible they sort of part of the episode they kind of zoom in on one of the employees. Spoiler alert, by the way, for anyone who's everyone knows what happens.
Doesn't matter.
And one of the employees is getting ready to buy a Birkin bag, and it's $27,000 or something, and then buys it
on the IPO.
Well, Newman's announced everyone knows that they're going to IPO, it's going to go ahead, it's on the news, blah blah blah, and for many reasons him as an individual just kind of destroys the possibilities of the company IPOing basically, But the employee's already bought the Birkin bag, so she has to sell it at a $5.5 grand loss. So
Peak.
It loses $5 grand,
Peak.
Which for me, this speaks to me. We're here waiting for these big exits. Maybe you lose $5 grand from a Birkin bag on the way. I'm not sure how many people at 11.
I think we're talking a little bit more about 5K, but yeah.
Yeah, true.
Also, probably stupid to buy the Birkin bag before you've even got the cash.
I did think that there's a scene where she's kind of hovering her mouse over the buy, and it's kind of she's it's quite an intense moment because she's like, oh, should I do this? Should I do this?
She wants it that much.
Oh, it's a pretty nice bag, mate.
I mean,
Not gonna
fine,
lie.
yeah.
It's a fresh bag. But I was thinking in my
I mean,
head
a
at the
Birkin bag
time,
as well. They're invite
it's a
only as well,
Birkin.
right?
I don't know how.
Birkin
I know
bags-
that they're really sought after.
Yeah,
but I
Birkin
don't know
bags are
what-
invite only now.
to buy one. You have
I
to get
think so.
invited to buy one.
I'm pretty sure.
How does that work?
Ola, is that correct? You have to make an
you have
appointment
to
to
make
buy
an
one.
appointment to buy one. Okay, fair.
But like, you might not get accepted for an appointment. It's like getting a job. You have to interview to have a Birkin
You have to
bag.
interview to get a Birkin. Not everyone can get a Birkin, everybody. You heard it here first.
Sad times. Anyway,
Super sad times.
I believe we have Steve in the pod. Here we go. Steve, you're live. How's it going? Nice to meet you.
Good guys. I'm glad we're in a European safe space. I'm coming to you from a hotel at the Chicago airport where it is negative 17 Celsius.
No way.
Yeah, I don't know how people live here. It's cooked.
That's insane.
Dude, you're in a
17?
t-shirt. The heating must be like whacked up.
Oh, the heat's up. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Let's go. Steve, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Negative
What's the
17
time?
degrees.
What's the time over there?
It's 7:30. I got in on a red eye from San Francisco, so I'm going to sleep as soon as I'm done with this.
No
Okay,
way.
we won't hold you
Steve,
very long.
You're a
We won't
legend.
hold you very
Thank
long.
you so much. That's,
No, it's a pleasure.
Well, absolutely. I was just saying,
Dedication to the game, for sure.
I can't remember if it was you or one of the Lorikeet team that spoke on a panel with my old colleague Michael Bajwa a while back from Convergence.
It was me.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
So awesome. We were just talking about that. I remembered it as you were coming in. I was like, oh, remember Steve spoke with Michael. Really cool. But before we're getting ahead of ourselves here, maybe for the viewers and the listeners, would you like to maybe just explain what is Lorikeet? Who you are. What is your role as well?
Yeah, so I'm one of the co-founders at Lorikeet, and Lorikeet's a platform that businesses use to build what we call a customer concierge. So you had Paul on earlier, very similar to Finn. We tend to work more with businesses in kind of high stakes or regulated environments where configurability, accuracy, action taking is more important. So less say SaaS or e-commerce businesses, more like fintech, healthcare, but the same kind of concept, and a similar read to Paul that the type of experiences businesses will have to offer for their customers is going to radically change as conversational AI rolls out, and having a highly capable omni-channel AI concierge is going to be a thing that every business needs if they want to maintain any sort of first-party relationship and not get totally disintermediated by ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so we've got like Lorikeet is more. Slightly more high stakes, I guess, in a way. This is something that's come up a lot on the show in terms of how are we at the point in which, and clearly we are because you guys are doing very well, this sort of intersection between like we're allowing AI into these high trust environments. Previously, maybe a few years back, it would be a little bit scary to let maybe some sort of agentic workflow come into something that is high stakes, high trust. How is it, question straight off the back, how is it sort of like communicating with these customers? Because this is, health tech, very regulated. Are the guardrails up anymore, or is it just like, give me the AI?
So our first customer was doing telehealth in Australia, and for whatever reason in Australia, it's literally a crime to say the name of a drug to someone if you haven't prescribed them that drug. So if they had someone email in and say, hey, do you guys have Ozempic? If Lorikeet was to reply back and say, yes, we have Ozempic, our customer would have committed a crime, or we'd be committing a crime on their behalf. So that was like deployment number one, is like, can we make sure the AI does not commit crimes? And a lot of the way the market we operate in went was actually folks sort of took this like FAQ summary, retrieval augmented generation, and took it to market really fast and sort of picked all the low hanging fruit. And my co-founder, Jamie, was a factual grounding research lead in Google Brain before he started the business. And he was like, I'm not spending a decade building chat to my fucking help docs. Like, we're going to build something hardcore, or we're going to go do something else. And so we're like, all right, let's go straight to the frontier. And then, fortunately, the models have got a lot stronger. So what we can do has improved. But our kind of ethos of the company has always been, what is the hardest thing we can get AI to do, and how do we get people to trust us to do that?
Yeah, because when I was doing some research for this, you're very much an advocate of you're not just building like chatbots, you're building like an agent, like you're very kind of resolution focused. It's most support agents are, I think I'm quoting, is like deflection obsessed. how how does that work? And two, maybe explain simply how that works for us as well, because it'd be quite useful.
I mean, look, if you're a deflection shop, what matters is when someone initiated a conversation with the AI, did they sort of escape containment and find their way to talk to a person? And I mean, I just try and look at this from the end consumer's perspective. Like, if you have a problem, the idea that the company you're trying to talk to is like celebrating that you didn't make it through to talk to someone is crap. And the people that we compete with that are very deflection focused, the easiest way for me to sell against them is I'm like, hey, what's your resolution rate with product X? They're like, oh, it's 60%. I'm like, look, just do me a favor before our next call and go read the last 20 tickets they told you were resolved and tell me if you think they were resolved. They always come back to the next call and they're like, oh, actually, no, like half of these were just obviously rage quits. And so this deflection creates some really bad incentives, because obviously the easiest way to get 100% deflection is just never let them talk to a human. But like, that's not what you want. You want customers to actually get an answer. And so with Lorikeet early on, we were like, look, the moment the Lorikeet agent thinks it's not solving the problem, it will escalate. They don't have to ask for a human. The AI will tell them, I'm getting you a human. And that makes quite a big difference and sets the right incentives for us long term.
That's interesting from like a UX point of view. I guess that's the thing that if I'm a customer and I'm going on that journey, I would probably get, there's a very short space in time in which I'd probably get quite frustrated, I'd imagine, if I was going back and forth. I mean, I've lived that experience, right? I've had that with a chatbot where it's just getting me nowhere.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
And like, there is no, sometimes there actually is no escape.
But on their side, it seems like it's been resolved, right? So
well, sometimes I just
that went into the deflection column.
All good. We're good here.
It'll even say like, and now rate your experience. And it's like, I'm not even gonna rate you anything. Like, that's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
You mentioned we jumped ahead a little bit, but you mentioned
the
background of all good. You mentioned the background of your co-founder. The background of the team at Lorikeet is incredibly strong, and it looks like you've made like a concise choice to hire from some like insane companies, like some of the individuals that work there. Was this AI talent wars are a huge thing? Is this something that we're even seeing at maybe the Series A stages, the Series B stages? Like, did you want to make sure that you've just got some superhumans on the team? Like, what's the thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're in an interesting position where Jamie and I have both spent a chunk of our careers in Silicon Valley, and then both very intentionally decided to start the business and build the R&D function out of Sydney. And there's incredible talent there, and you want to try and make the first couple of really strong calls so that you become that talent magnet and go for it. Probably somewhere between 100 engineers and 1,000 in Sydney, you're going to start tapping out whether you can keep getting that quality talent, but like, fuck, that'd be a good problem to have. So up until that point, there's plenty to get us there. And maybe a decade ago, and this probably resonates with Europe as well, you could have started a business in Australia and failed and kind of blamed it on Australia. I think today, if you start a business in Australia and fail, it's totally on you. Like, there's the capital, there's the talent, you've just got to go pull it together. And so we focus very hard on trying to get that nucleus right. And then we've been lucky to, as we expand, partially hire great people we haven't met before in these markets, but also find a bunch of Australian expats and sort of leverage that sort of mafia in the same way that the Intercom folks had a bunch of Irish people all over the world initially.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's so cool. I guess more onto the product side. If for you guys, like, what is I'm not sure again, like customer percentage, like enterprise focus, or how that looks, obviously. But what is like the 2026 goal for you? It seems that the play for this is we're trying to just slowly increase ACV as we move into the enterprise market, I'd imagine. What are you guys looking forward to? What have you guys got coming up?
Yeah, so I mean, look, in terms of where we are, we raised a pretty big Series A last year. Off the back of showing that we'd had 2 quarters where 80% of our revenue had been won in head-to-heads against Decagon, Sierra, and Intercom, and that our win rate in those head-to-heads when they had done a direct product comparison was about 70-80%. So some folks in our space have websites saying they never lose a head-to-head. Definitely not true, because we beat those guys head-to-head, but like, we don't win every one of them. We're not the right solution for everyone. We don't always nail it, but we win much more than we lose. And on a sort of capital adjusted and hype adjusted basis, I think we do really well. The challenge for us in 2026 is we're just not in enough deals in the first place. It doesn't matter what our win rate is if we never get invited into the RFP or the deal in the first place. And so we're trying to build our presence a lot more, tell the story, hopefully through that performance and through the quality of the story we have to tell, win a seat at the table when people are making that shortlist. And then we're confident that if we get the at-bats, we're going to do pretty well. the thing that we wanted to share today, and this is going live shortly, so
Yes.
I'm excited to break the news. We're kind of launching today what's effectively our second product, which is what we call Coach. So, we've been building these customer-facing concierges for a couple of years now. Coach, you think of as the internal concierge. So we've been automating tier 1 support. We're now assisting and automating the actual process of running a support team. The cool thing about Coach is it's not just analytics, it's kind of proactively bringing you insights, but it will just solve problems for you. Think of it as sort of Claude Code for your support team. I had a loop with Coach last week that just blew my mind where a customer said, hey, Lorikeet canceled this subscription, but it didn't confirm with the person. So I said, Coach, get this ticket, turn it into an eval set in the product, run the evals and just confirm, is this consistent behavior with this prompt? Yep, it's consistent behavior. Okay, look at the prompt. Why is it doing this? And Coach says, well, hang on, there's a contradiction here because at this point it says now cancel and at this point it says now confirm. I said, okay, fix the prompt and then rerun the eval set and tell me if it solved it. That end-to-end process took about 5 or 10 minutes, and I could go back to the customer and say, hey, here's the solution. Here's how we use the product we're launching next week to solve it. Historically, that would have been either us digging through the logs with a forward deployed engineer or the customer digging through the logs. We used to have a button evaluate my prompts that you had to click, but now the whole thing is kind of conversational and it's just using those tools to solve the problems. And we think that sort of thing is going to be a massive unlock for the ultimate goal, which is building agents that just solve more and more of your customers' problems.
Wow. Okay. This is huge.
Yeah, that's pretty mad.
How does that? So hold on. So that we spoke to the ex VP of engineering at Shopify literally I think last week, and a lot of the he's building something that's more horizontal, not a particular department or a vertical. It's kind of just connects a load of tools, semi-horizontal agent in a way, but very hands off, very maybe human in the loop. So this is an interesting perspective now with you guys, that this can run a full support team in a way, kind of like Claude Code, as you say. But this, long term, would this just be autonomously running on its own then? It wouldn't really have a human in the loop?
Yeah, look, what is the human going to know and what's the agent going to know? So the human is going to know at a fundamental level, how does your business want to show up for your customers? And there are some no-brainer optimizations that an agent should be making hands off, but some kind of strategic decisions I think you need to make. So a classic example of that is under what circumstances do you want to offer someone a refund? And that's going to be governed by your business, also regulations you face, also just what your attitude is towards your customers. But once you have that goal, it can very easily go and proactively say to you, hey, cancellation related tickets are dragging down your aggregate CSAT score significantly. This is an area you should go look. Or hey, this type of question, the agent struggles to give a good answer to. Based on what your human agents are saying, you probably need an article that says this, here's the article drafted. So the amount of sort of end-to-end autonomy varies. We think that human judgment being in the loop is pretty important, but what it should feel like is kind of talking to the manager of your support team. So some of the problems they just solve and they inform you after the fact. Some of the problems they're going to tee up because they're broader and more strategic. Yeah.
That makes complete sense. That's so interesting. We're coming into this world where I just feel that 3 years ago or something like that, we discussed on the show a fair bit. It felt
just getting so good.
It was the year of the agents, but I don't think we quite got there. I think there was still a huge missing piece. And it kind of feels like now it's
kind of step by step. And so it didn't feel magical. It felt like programming with a little bit of AI. And this is more, you give it a goal, you give it some tools, you give it a steer, and it kind of solves your problem.
When you've been a massive proponent of outcome based pricing and not kind of just seat based pricing for the normal kind of SaaS model, is there ever a world where the AI agent gets so good that it basically can solve pretty much any problem, and therefore outcome based outcome-based pricing doesn't necessarily work because you're kind of always winning, and therefore the value then goes back to subscription-based? Does that make sense?
Yeah. There are two places I can see it evolving. So one is we've started to do some deals with more bounty-based pricing. So forget how many conversations we have. What is the business outcome that you're driving from those conversations, and can we share in the upside if we drive incremental conversions or incremental retentions or something like that? The other though is probably for any conversation set, I think probably 5 to 20% is always going to need a human because it's some undocumented edge case or it's something unusual or something very relationship and emotional. But the expansion is actually going to be in the amount of conversation. So if you just picture your bank, like you don't call your bank because you know it will be a shit experience. If you knew, though, that when you called your bank, it would get answered on the first call and the person on the other end of the line or the agent on the other end of the line would just solve your problem and not tell you to like fuck off and do it yourself by like reading FAQs at you, you would call your bank all the time. Like you'd call them and be like, hey, pay my rent, and they'd pay your rent. And so probably for a team of 100 people today, they end up taking 5 to 10% of like 10 times more total customer interactions because there'll be so much TAM expansion. And I think that's how businesses like ours grow. It's not so much that you get to 100% of current reactive support and you tap out. It's that if the agent is good, people will want to talk to the agent, and then you get that kind of expansion.
Yeah. The pricing thing has just been something that's been debated for so long. I think like when it first came out, everyone was just super excited. So it was like, let's apply like SaaS based, because it's the only one we know, right? Like just like,
and it was the most recurring.
Yeah. It was just like a trusted source. But we're seeing it like fluctuate a load. I don't really.
Are you guys always just like testing models with different customers and
Not too much, to be honest, because when you're a sold product, a lot of your pricing has to be dictated by just understandability for your buyer, right? And so for us, we try and keep it simple. We're like, look, we have 3 different plans. There's some slightly different features, but to be honest, the plans are just how much of an upfront commitment are you making? The more of an upfront commitment you make, the better your unit pricing. But if you buy, 50,000 credits upfront and use them up in the first 3 months, we'll just bill you monthly. And we'll probably also come back to you and say, hey, if you up that commitment a bit, we can bring down the unit price. But we try and keep that simple. We don't have platform fees. I don't like fucking around with that. And I think one of the cool things about building a business is you get to think of pricing as not like a value exchange mechanism, but as an incentive creation mechanism. And so I want our pricing structure to continually make us stare at how to do things that help our customers. And then over time, that compounds in the right direction. I think if you are doing it from within a legacy business, you have all this overhang of like your cannibalization rate versus your seat pricing and your standalone unit economics because you can't raise any more capital because you're kind of a legacy SaaS business, and it kind of muddies the waters. And we get to just be like, okay, like what type of business do we want to build? And then how do we make our pricing match that?
Yeah, that makes complete sense. That's awesome. We're coming up to time. Just how can we drive people to this new launch? Where can they go? It's going
to be all over LinkedIn in I think about 15 minutes. Yeah, we've got to love LinkedIn. That works well. It'll be on our website, lorikeetscx.ai, and probably a bunch of other places. If we're doing a good job, you won't be able to miss it. If it takes you more than 2 Googles, like email me and I'll bring it up with the marketing team.
Nice.
So awesome.
Love it.
Cool. Well,
thank you so much for spending the time. Have a nice time in Chicago.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We need to make sure you can get some sleep as well. We've hijacked your
No, I do it to myself. This is the joy of B2B SaaS. Appreciate being on, guys. Have a good one.
Good stuff. Great to meet you, dude.
Go well, mate. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Awesome guy.
So cool.
Just a quick word from Airwallex. Leave out data business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one place. Go to airwallex.com. Next on the show, our final guest on the show, God, it's been a long one, is Roman Holtz. He is a co-founder and CEO of Robco, a robotics automation company. What are you doing?
I'm just checking something.
That's great.
I can tell you what it is in a sec.
Oh dear.
No, it's good. It's a good thing. Sorry. One sec. Okay, hold on. Let me just check something else.
I don't want to say anything in case.
I don't want to say anything yet. Okay, no, we can break the news. We can break the news is out. It's on Bloomberg. Okay, our next guest, Robco CEO, Roman. We need to get better at this. This was an exclusive.
We need to know our timings.
News broke an hour ago that they've raised 100 million an hour ago.
Damn. Series A.
And we have I have the press release right here. It was. Series C, sorry. And it's co-led by our friends over there at Lightspeed. Shout out to Lightspeed. So they've just raised a Series A, co-led by Lightspeed. It's 100 million. And also Lingoto Innovation came in. They co-led with Lightspeed alongside Sequoia Capital, Greenfield Partners, Kindred Capital, Leitmotif, and the Friedkin Group. I also have this release as well that we can have a look at.
Is you on the screen at the moment?
No. Okay. Let's not put this one on the screen because this is the embargoed release. This one's not public. We have the special one.
have the special.
But yeah, they've raised 100 million, and we're going to be talking around physical AI. Let me just find if one that I can actually share.
Go on the Bloomberg article. It's more flat.
Well, we've not paid for Bloomberg, so I can't go on Bloomberg.
Legacy media, hey.
We have FT.
rough.
I don't think FT would cover this though, which is a shame.
No.
Yeah, well, I guess it's also the name, by the way, is from I'm going to ask him if this is true, but the Robco Industries is traditionally the industry in Fallout, where all the machines are made in Fallout. Did you play Fallout?
No.
Oh, just wasted some information.
Video
on you.
game.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
mate, one of the best games out there.
That's cool.
Sifted aren't covering this. That's mental.
Legacy media, eh?
They're based in Munich. It's 100 million Series C.
Well, anyway.
That's so crazy.
We're going to have...
But we're joined
about
by
to
the
have
founder.
Ramon on any minute now. But before we do that, Spectre, be the reason your fund was the deal of the decade. Go to tryspectre.com. Harness the power of live data and AI-driven analysis. I haven't said that one in a while. It's just be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade.
Yeah,
It's like, that
just
is
be the
just
reason. Yeah. Hello, Ramon.
Aha, we're here.
Are we live yet? No, just checking. With our producer? No, we're not. We're cool.
Well, we're live, but we're just waiting for
live, but I don't
our
think our
producer to tell us that you're...
Viewers can see you, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you're... Oh, there we go. You're live.
Let's go, mate. Congratulations. The news is out now. We were a little bit worried about we were trying. We were doing some checking to see if it was live, if we could talk about it. Congratulations, It is live. 100 million Series C, massive achievement. Before I ask you about all of that, the name Robco, is that from Fallout, the game? I have to ask.
Yeah, thanks for the congrats. Great to be on. No, it is not. So we only figured that out later. We actually had a different name in the beginning. So if you look to the commercial registry, it used to be Kea, like the bird, the New Zealandish bird.
Okay.
Renamed to Robco for the robot company. We're quite surprised because many
Yeah.
companies, but the most significant name is still free. So
That's amazing. You should just own it. You should own the fact that it was from Fallout.
we should. We got the domain, rob.co. So
Let's go.
There you go.
So
well,
sick.
dude, congratulations. Maybe it's worth an introduction about who you are, what Robco is, what you guys do, and the news today as well.
Yeah, for sure. So our mission at Robco is we're building an autonomous manufacturing platform with a vision of automating the ordinary so humans can do the extraordinary in manufacturing. My name is Roman. I'm co-founder and CEO based in Munich and San Francisco, and just raised Series C. So Series C stage since today, just shy of 200 people between the US and Europe, and roughly 500 solutions out there across enterprise and mid-market manufacturing companies, and that is Robco in a nutshell.
So cool, dude. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, especially just an hour after this breaks on Bloomberg. Can maybe just from you, what's the build-up been to this, and how has the last, it's only been live for an hour, so how's the last hour been?
Oh man, it's been, it's one of these moments where every channel you have is basically flooded with messages, which is great. We want to be, we've been quite shy as a company. We didn't do a lot of PR, a lot of, public communications, and we'll change that this year. So it's a nice kind of kickstart to that new phase in terms of being much more public about the company, the product, the customers, and today's a good start to that.
Awesome stuff. A topic that we have discussed a few times on the show, but maybe not as much as we should have, that I feel that maybe you'll be quite well posed to do so. You were recently integrated into the Physical AI Fellowship by NVIDIA and AWS. Can we maybe just talk a bit more about physical AI just as a standalone thing? And then I'd love to go into AWS, NVIDIA, this fellowship. What does that look like?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, guys, if you take a step back, manufacturing demand is rising like crazy, especially when it comes to more localized manufacturing. I think the US is most vocal about that, as are European countries. The issue is labor availability and flexibility actually collapsing. They're not just not there, they're collapsing. And so the question around labor shortages, reshoring, the volatility in terms of, more products, higher mix, low volume, all poses this big question is, how do we think about that? And to our mind, the answer is an autonomous manufacturing platform that self-learns and adapts to these circumstances. And that's what we're doing. And so I think to your point, you can't do it without the NVIDIAs and AWSs of this world. We need, a bunch of compute, a bunch of chips, loads of reasoning going on the platform. And so excited to partner with, the heavy hitters and, having met Jensen this past summer as well to drive the partnership going forward. So that's one of the big focus topics, one of 3 pillars for the Series C race as well.
That's so cool. And then just specifically on the fellowship, like what does that look like? Is it like...
Yeah, what do you mean by focus? What is the 3 pillars of the focus? What does that mean?
Yeah, so there's 3 big reasons for us to raise this round, because we have most of the capital from the Series B still on the bank. Number 1 is driving physical AI across our product suite. That's the biggest, and we'll invest a proper double-digit million amount into driving what we call Robco autonomy. And then the second pillar is the US expansion. We've acquired a company there roughly 14 months ago, and have since deployed robots in 10 plus states. I'm going to also move over, this summer, and then the third topic is the enterprise push. So back in 2024, we used to do less than 20% in the enterprise, and 2025 we did 85% of revenues in the enterprise segment. And so that has a long tail of stuff that has to happen at Robco, which we're doubling down on. So those are the 3 main drivers. To the fellowships, look, we met Jensen at NVIDIA a couple of months ago, and one of the guys there, I'm not going to name any names, but basically said there's so many products and so much potential for partnership. You have to orchestrate that alone, because no one really knows, what customers need, what the demands are. The space is evolving so quickly. You need to essentially have someone who's orchestrating that whole partnership process. And so these fellowships essentially provide exactly that. There's a steward for Robco, helping us navigate the landscape at NVIDIA and AWS. And it's, simple things, co-marketing, getting access to the latest and greatest in terms of product, but then also more strategic initiatives, which we can only partly talk about.
maybe in the future.
Yes.
This is such a cool. It's one of the cooler businesses and that we've had on the show, just in terms of what the focus is and what you're building. What's the founding story for this? Like, how did you start Robco?
Yeah, so Robco is a classical university spin-off. I did my final year, so I did my undergrad and grad degrees in Munich at TUM and CDTM, and then did my final year in Boston. And moved back to Europe, back to Munich, and to the chair of robotics and AI. Everyone was laser focused on the robotics part of that, not so much the AI part of that 5 years ago. That's changed a lot, obviously. And we had a pretty young professor there at the chair, and he had like 20 ideas of, call it autonomy-related companies to be founded in the autonomous drone space, autonomous driving, autonomous robots. And so essentially what we did is we took roughly 13 years of research and spun that out of university, 1 key patent. And the whole idea was to make a very adaptable modular hardware system, based on Lego building blocks, essentially work because of a very high performing software platform. And so that very software platform is still the core to our technology today, which enables us to take in all the environmental and parts data of these processes, reason based off of that, learn manufacturing and robotics processes, and then deploy robots much faster than anyone else, and actually deploy them. So there's no backflipping demos at Robco. Several hundred deployed live solutions in 24/7 operations.
That's so awesome. I remember seeing the Boston Dynamics videos. Like, I think it was on Facebook in like 2015 or something. I don't even know. It was a while ago, and I remember seeing that. I was like, "That's so cool! Like, that robot can kind of stand up." But now, when we see like the rate at which the agility of these things as well, it's really cool, and it's also a little bit scary. But what looking internally, like how fast, 'cause we are quite clearly outsiders. How fast is it moving on the inside?
So I mean, it's moving incredibly fast. It's almost hard to keep track in some weeks, especially on the frontier topics around world models, vision, language, action models. I think what's been exciting for us to see is the macro trends have only increased. Labor shortage, cost increases every year. Every country is now, trying to get manufacturing back from China. China was almost like this manufacturing cloud. You send a part over, a design and a drawing, and you got a finished product back. And that's changing now, of course. And so the question is, how do you answer the challenges we mentioned in the beginning around cost, around complexity, around volatility, in a tech-first way? And so I think, on that path, there's several different ways of pursuing it. The way we pursue at Robco is deploy as many robots as possible, capture as much real-time and real-world data as possible, feed that back into the product in what we call the digital twin platform that we have since the beginning, and then deploy more and more products. And so the idea for us is be very customer-centric, but in a AI-first world. And that, of course, is in stark contrast to a bunch of the big labs, with massive rounds, pre-product and pre-revenue. And we try to strike the middle ground because we think manufacturing is so critical in terms of precision, uptime, reliability, repeatability, that you have to be very close to your customers to truly drive outsized customer returns. And so that's our approach, and it's moving incredibly fast. It is really hard to keep track.
Let's go.
That's super exciting.
That's so cool. Let's go.
You're obviously working between very focused on physical AI, but then also it's like software and like AIs and software kind of in the ether, I guess. And everything is moving super quickly, but obviously physical AI has the natural world things slowing it down. So making sure parts are coming and all of that kind of stuff, and putting these things together. How does that dynamic work? Building in kind of both domains, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you mean like 1 or 2 week sprints on the software side with 3 new releases while we speak. And then like 6 week hardware release cycles where you're waiting for parts to come in.
Exactly.
Going on. It is a stretch. I mean, there's no magic answer to that. We have what we do, and I'll have you guys over if you're in Munich anytime. We do everything in-house. So we have a central location close to Central Station Munich, and we literally do the testing, the assembly, the hardware supply chain work.
Wow.
And we also do, we have our AI lab here. We have our software engineers here, the commercial team for the most part. And so our strategy has just been to keep everything and everyone as close together as possible, and be quite transparent about exactly this mismatch of 6 week sprints and 2 week sprints on the software side of things.
100%.
That's so sick. I mean, you did just say that we can come over sometime, and like, unfortunately, we will definitely follow you.
You gotta bring a hat though. I'm not gonna let you.
No, we'll 100% we'll bring some ETN caps. But next time it's Munich. You guys are based in, right?
Yeah, that's right. Munich and then SF in Austin. I'm like 60% in the States, 40% in Munich perhaps.
Okay, cool. Well, next time that we're like near Munich, I think we are going to Berlin for something.
We're going to Berlin for something. I can't remember what it is.
I can't remember where.
Probably not announced yet,
we probably haven't announced that yet. Oops, I just accidentally announced it. In a few months maybe, but yeah, we'll have to try and line up because I'd love to come and see these things get made. That'd be awesome.
Let's do it.
That'd be so fun.
Good stuff. Well, congratulations again.
We're a minute over, but thank you for making time for us. I'm sure you've probably got like a million things to be doing right now. But yeah, it was great to have.
We have a CEO of one of our biggest customers just here, so the whole press release does kind of went by me. So I'm jumping out back to the customer meeting, and then more celebrations tonight. Thank you guys.
That's okay, hilarious. You gotta run. Go chat to that CEO. Cheers, dude.
Great to meet you. See you later.
Awesome stuff.
That is hilarious. Before we finish up on the show, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. It's Thursday. Have a great weekend.
Great weekend, guys.
We'll see you back on Tuesday. Thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in.